Joe, it is 2 o'clock. Any final thoughts before we send it to the Big Kahunas?
No, great session, man. As always, great stuff talking with you guys. Great option questions. We loved it.
All right, Joe and I will be back tomorrow. Be same bat time, same bat channel. Get it, Big Kahunas.
Oh, boy. No. Yo, NVIDIA is absolutely flying this moment, as everybody knows. Story doesn't matter. Catalyst. Look, they got the event. But I don't know that anybody expected this kind of velocity in all of the chip names. And I'm talking to USMCI, but NVIDIA 4.5 points now. It just broke the 130 level maybe 10 minutes ago, or actually maybe closer to 7 or 8 minutes ago. Super strong name. On the verge, though, is AMD trying to break out. So this is trying to catch up. I just want to make sure the things that are imminent we go over. So AMD opening range high already broken, but this 172.50. Okay, a second ago it looked like it was going to break out those tops. But super strong day for some of the chips. It is not all good. As you heard Sharif, Joe talking about, you got Meta and you've got Alphabet, which have been dragged down this whole way, barely bouncing off of some of these lows. So certainly the reason why you have the NASDAQ, which is a mixed bag, and essentially in a pretty tight range all day long, is because you've got some super strong runners in the chip space, and then you got some of the big cap tech, Google, Alphabet, and Apple, that are not participating in this move. I haven't checked Microsoft. I haven't looked at Softy. Yeah, I'm kind of assuming Softy's probably down, and it's like all the chips are up, and these bad boys taking it on the chin just a little bit. Oh, and Tesla, of course, as well, losing the bid today. So it's a chip rally kind of day. And SMCI, to my surprise, has been leading the way. Remember that 48.5? It just double tapped 48.5. Shorted earlier off this level. Feel like I'm not going to do it the second time through. The fact that it got back to this high is ridiculously surprising to me. Definitely a big time move, SMCI.
I mean, when we were here, Patrick was like, yeah, man, we got this short on Apple. And I was like, yeah, it might not go, dude. It might not go. Yeah, about that right there. Apple now $1 and $2 in the money, as we still have our 10% left on this one as it continues to make new lows right now for Apple. HKD's popping off apparently right now as well. We're still in. I mean, oops, HKD is an NY stock. We still have a lot. I mean, you can see the positions. Palantir, we actually brand new position there on Palantir. It's not the way you may think. It's short. That turned out to be a really good trade short. Here's HKD. It's not moving. It just, I guess it was just popping there a little bit. Here's the Palantir. Oops, that's still HKD. There is the Palantir play right here underneath the 50-period moving average. Waited for it to do something, had sort of stars align right there. Nice downside pressure for Palantir. And we'll talk about the futures when we get to that level as well. But right now, there it goes, man. Yeah, buddy, look at this move on Palantir right there. Shorted right there twice. Boom to the downside, taking out lows. Right now, Apple trying to do the same thing here as well. And then we'll talk about the futures when we go. So we're just getting all set up, and then we'll go do over the rundown as all the stocks that you guys have gotten ready for us to answer. We will try our best to analyze them. We might not have traded them all, but we'll have a look at some of the names and keep it in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's there for us or with us right now in the chat. It should be a great afternoon, as I'm short everything right now. We're short Apple, we're short Palantir, and we are short the NASDAQ, which is really starting to go right down to the lows again for the NQs right here. Yeah, buddy, look where we're short. Now, we lost here. I'll discuss all of this when we go, but nice move down in. We better put a bid down here. I was waiting for 71s. Let's just put an 81 now, cancel our 71s, and take like whatever the 40 or 50 handles here if we can on the downside of the futures. But all right, looks like he's back, ready to go. You let us know there, Ramin, because we can throw it over to Sharif at any time.
Sharif is ready.
Going to welcome everyone to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where they decide what you talk about we decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean are locked and loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So get into that chat during the midday and vote for your favorite ticker. But it is a subs only chat, guys. So make sure you are liking and subscribing to the video. Here's a look at the triple Qs today. Yeah, awfully consolidated, but in negative territory. We're down about 0.5%. It's essentially the same look on the ES. The ES and the NQ both down around 0.5%. The Dow faring a little worse, actually 0.75%. And then the Russell taking on the chin today, down about 1% as people remove or get out of that rotation trade. Let's look at the first ticker, though. as decided by you, NVIDIA. No surprise there. With this, the AI Summit taking place in Washington, it started today. It's going to go to the 9th. We didn't have any speakers today to report to you guys on. Looks like they're doing workshops, but hopefully that'll change tomorrow. So NVIDIA will be in play all week.
I mean, as long as I'm here all week. Yeah, look, I mean, we had AMD today long and we wound up losing on it. I don't have any NVIDIA trades. Look at Palantir. I just put an 8 bid there. Hopefully we'll get that. Wow, was not expecting that. Okay, so we'll talk about NVIDIA real quick. I don't have any trades on it. We actually looked out on this today. We looked at AMD 170 and 172. So I could talk about that, but if we're going to look at NVIDIA, why not? There's a nice push, obviously, today up 4%. This is the only name that I bought recently. You know what, we bought Berkshire, but like with any sort of oomph. And it was down there a couple Fridays ago where we were able to buy some of this. I really like this name. I think with all the conferences coming through this week, we have an event with Lisa Su Wednesday, I believe, with AMD, and then more coming out with Jensen right now. And okay, so we do get that Palantir fill right down there, man. Nice trade on Palantir. Wow. Okay. Anyways, there's NVIDIA there. Look, I think we should just never leave this name, especially when it's 10, 11 o'clock and we start to get little bases like this. That should have been traded down there at 125 or 126. There's the take through VWAP. So if you don't have it there, then now you got to wait, right? And so I think it's going to be a waiting game, and I'm fine to do that. But for right now, NVIDIA is just cooking, man. It's cooking. We love the stock. I love the stock. It's one of my favorite names to trade, and you guys know that. I just haven't got my way into it today. We have big trades on. It's just not NVIDIA. Should have. There it is, going back to the 26th. So you're going all the way back 2.5 weeks or so, or was that only 1 week, to where we had this high, and that's sort of what I was talking about, that 126, 126.50 area. That was a good enough spot. So could have played that, could have, would have, should have. Nice move up there on that one. We'll get to SMCI and AMD and all that, I'm sure, soon. But for me, NVIDIA was maybe a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, look, it was a missed opportunity for me. I just got into Micron. Putting in the chat, I'll show you guys Micron reversion in a quick little second. But NVIDIA, I like the 125 quarter breakout, but at the opened, either just missed the fill. We took the breakout at 27 into the 27.5. We dipped into VWAP into 27. We had the long above 27 again. It was right at, it is what it is. Like it held on a trend. I threw up the trend line, did not re-enter on the trend, and missed the last part of the move because it broke the trend down. So NVIDIA, super strong name today, gave up on it, I think a little bit too early. And then let me just quickly come to Micron here, because this had a breakout of 102.5 here, double top there, break of the trend here. So I'm short underneath 104. If it gets back above like 104.10, then as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of re-engaging the trend line. I think there's room to 103, if not even VWAP on the way down. So the chips were all super strong and just chilling out. All of a sudden, I think you turned a little bit of a corner there. That was the biggest dip. If you don't consolidate here and break higher, I think we can go lower. Stair step to the downside in the futures is continued, but for the first time, the chips starting to give it up a bit.
Tesla next. Obviously, we know 10/10, October 10th, the robo-taxi event. But according to some analysts, that's not the biggest thing that could actually be announced. They're actually saying there could be a more important catalyst. What could that be? Possibly more information coming out with respect to what we've labeled the Model 2. But it's essentially a cheaper version of, or a less expensive version of the Tesla car, not the Model 3, obviously, a little bit smaller than that. So we'll wait to see if there could be more Model 2 or so announcements, as well as some others. So we'll keep an eye out today on Tesla, but already, guys, down 2 2/3.
Yeah, rough day for Tesla. Just the sell before this event continues to happen at this $250 level. There's nothing else to say about it except for, like I was ready for a 251 breakout. That was the plan of action. 251 was the high after delivery numbers. Oh, you guys can't see because my head's in the way, but a way to, I'll just,
there you go.
Yeah, so on the deliveries numbers, when that came, you had this 251 right at the open, and then underneath 250, and then 251 again. On Friday, you had 251. It just felt like a 251 break, because higher lows going into it was going to be the name of the game. It just, at the open, instantly rejected underneath 250. Like, look at this. Look at the last wick at the open, like right here. it breaks down, and then just holds 250 at 921, holds, dump off the 250 level. So it's still apparently it's still a sell at $250 on Tesla. Thankfully didn't do anything until it retested that double bottom at 250, 245, basically played it into 46, and that's the only trade. So I think we're going to be a broken record. 250 is a sell level on Tesla until proven otherwise after the event. At least for now, it seems like the support at 242, 243 has been holding on. Underneath that, it did bottom at 238. I think those can be in play. Maybe a VWAP or trace this afternoon, something along those lines. But Tesla, the 250 selling, it feels like it's been like Amazon. You just need to have it almost every single day. But no, I was looking for that 51 break. I thought that was going to be an easy breakout trade on Tesla. Just never gave it to you.
Yeah, I had the same ideas here. I was just trying to show that to you guys. It was basically, yeah, those feels of the 250. Like, I thought we liked that trade, and I think we did like it, the 250 long breaking out through to 252. But that never came through today. Over 6,000 or 5,000 of you checking out the sticky note. I want to thank you for that. But yeah, so for right now, I feel like it's just the same stuff. That's TQQs right now. We're getting a little low on that one. We're almost, so on TQQs, we have about 20% left of that position. Palantir, we have like 5% left. We're going to have to get into some more trades. But yeah, there's Tesla. So there's the two. Like, when it was dropping today, and remember when we had Michael Noss, or just before we had Michael Noss on, I was like, you know, Tesla can move like multiple dollars right off the open. You got to figure out what it's trying to do. Well, when that came into 247, we had a great trade back in there to 248, 249. But the problem is, and you guys remember if you were here at 8:30 when I was trading it, we had another offer here. We got a little bit greedy. Like, we're long down here, guys, 246.50. It goes to 248.50. That's $2 in the money. Now, we took about $1.50 on some of those plays, but we definitely didn't get enough in down there. Well, we got enough in, but we didn't get enough out. And then when it came back and lost that same level again, we're out. We always got to play off of past support and resistance. Once it broke it, we were gone. Looked foolish there, but now looking pretty, but now looking pretty good as Tesla has made its way into those bottoms one more time. So, yeah, man, I mean, I love the stock here, Tesla. I actually am with Sharif on that. I think that there is going to be something else. I think they'll talk about, I mean, I'm hoping that they'll focus more on sort of the data that they have and all that collection and how much ahead of Waymo and all these other companies that they are. And then we can sort of reprice Tesla as a data company and an infrastructure play rather than just a straight up like sort of EV name. I know we all know that there's more to Tesla, but a lot of people don't. And I just feel like we need to prove that. And Elon's going to have to show something in just a couple of days. And I think he will. I would be, I mean, not financial advice, but down 30% here. I think Tesla's higher than where we are now come Friday or October 11th, whatever day that is, after this. So I think we go upside from here on TSLA.
It was Thursday.
Whatever. I don't know. What day is the 10th? Friday. Yeah, so Thursday's the event. So I think by Friday close, we're higher than 244.
Oh, you meant after the event. Okay.
Friday, I just mean Friday at close.
I wasn't sure if you meant when.
Yeah, it's always like a what have you done for me lately kind of business, Sean. I definitely agree with you there. All right, AMD, we saw Joe trade this one on the midday, did real well with this one. Also, another name that's positive today, most of the chips are, but Neil mentioning that they're pulling back a little bit. Cantor Fitzgerald analyst CJ Muse chiming in today with respect to AMD maintaining his overweight rating and the same price target, $180, guys, keeping this thing afloat.
AMD, sure, I can take over this. We
just,
are.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah. Some of our level 2 sometimes is crashing. Okay, so we so I shouldn't say, I always say we, but I wrote down 170, 172 here for AMD. And again, like, it's just what happened off the open was a trip, basically. We came in here, we were hitting the longs, and we liked it. We were doing good, until eventually it lost 169. I say this all the time. If you're going to trade AMD, SMCI, we'll probably get to that throughout this afternoon show. As we go, and you're going to trade these names, you're going to have to sometimes get a little aggressive with what you're trying to do, right? And I just thought waiting for $1 was pretty good. I mean, look at this, 169.30, bang, all the way up there, 170.30. Those are dollars. And eventually we lost its way. We are still up on AMD, but clearly not up enough. There's our 170 break. So the only thing that I think I can do better, and this is why I have the sticky note here, and I'm always trying to look at it and just keep it up here, lean it on Josh Allen or Connor Brown here or something. I try to make sure that we can rewatch some of the levels. So Tesla won't get back to 252, but AMD right here is around that 172. So I like this level. Seemed like it was bouncing around here in the pre-market. Maybe we head to the downside. No surprise that's where the 50-period moving average is. I like AMD, but I like it down at VWAP. So let these things cool down a little bit. Well, we will get to SMCI. It looks like Neil's charts are everything's back. But at the end of the day, I still like AMD. I just, you know, it's had its move up. And NVIDIA being up 4%, AMD only being up half is something. And then SMCI might have some more juice to it as well. So we'll get over that in a minute. The event starts at 7 p.m. California time. Okay. So October 10th is a moot point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter then. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
because
so unfortunately, we cannot trade during RoboTaxi event. Chef Joe is like the biggest guy I know. So
Blue
I'll
Ocean.
take his, but we...
No, we're not going to. Obviously, we're not going to be
won't
like live, but there'll probably be a few traders
that's too
that
bad.
trade the overnight markets on Blue Ocean. Is my guess at Real Trading. But so obviously, I'm going to go to SMCI in a second. AMD had a good rally. It's where it eventually bounced. When we were talking about it in the morning, there was this nice level at just underneath 169, right? Like going into Friday, that's where the secondary bounce came. This resistance level that that got stalled at the open, consolidated, broke out, looked there for the dip buy. If there was a mistake, so there's a bounce off that level. But then the second time, liquidity grabs underneath and bounces off the level again twice. So there was a chance to go over to AMD. Why was I not trading AMD when that happened? Well, because I was on SMCI. So if you stick with AMD, right off the same dip buy, you get it twice, and you could just be going long. But SMCI, at that point, I was looking mean reversion on SMCI. So to make a long story short, that's once, twice, 3, 4. The fifth time was a charm, but what's different about these is, and I'm not going to bother, you know what, I might as well if I can zoom in here and show you the trend on SMCI. So if you look at this bounce, essentially, this gave you, like the first trend line, okay, it broke here, so I don't mind that trade. We took some profit, bad reload, I think, because I could have waited for the top. So at that point, we've lost like 4 times on it with like 1 profit take. But then we wait for the last trend line to break on SMCI where, remember what we talked about? There were 2 levels on SMCI. I wrote them down. The first one was 46.30. That was right in here. The first time it tried to reverse, the other was $48.50, the 485 level on the daily chart. So it broke the upper trend line. Basically did what I think you should do, is like hit it and quit it from there to there.
Hit it and quit it.
So I did hit it and quit it. I'm flat on SMCI, basically because the 5th time worked. But the truth is, it should have just been maybe only this trade and then only this trade without a reload there. Like that's discipline. Like wait for your shot at a reversion. When you get it, take your shot. Don't need to be adding to it. Like there, I trailed out of it instead of, a lot of times I'd be adding there, but who cares? SMCI is on one. It's squeezing. There's no question about whether this is squeezing or not. Like 16%. And it doesn't need a huge short float to squeeze. Remember, there was a short seller report here. Exit liquidity for them. So they got a little bit of that today. For whatever reason, it decided it was going to go 16% up. If it takes out 48.5, I think the shorts are in even more trouble.
I'm just saying that Hurricane Milton strengthened to a Category 5. Now we hope everybody stays safe down there, especially in Florida, guys. All right, Costco up next on the rundown. You see I have an Amazon headline here because the retailers are all moving down in sympathy with that Amazon downgrade. You'll see Costco today faring better than Walmart, but down, 0.75%. Walmart did get downgraded today by Wells Fargo from overweight to equal weight, bumping down that price target from 225 to 183. You'll see the likes of Walmart as well, also down about 1.5% here near the lows. And Amazon, the one that actually got downgraded almost at the lows, guys, 3% for these retailers right now.
Someone just asked me in the chat about Amazon there. I think it was Nick W. about are we at support for Amazon? I said, yes, we are, but I'm only going short. I don't want to play longs in any of these names today because I already thought Amazon, I told you we were having dreams and nightmares, I guess, about Amazon. There will be up on it today. It's fine. But at the end of the day, Costco is a name that we talked about earlier as well. It's so funny that this is on the list because I just got off the phone with my wife who is at Costco right now, wondering, she said, oh my God, there's no more toilet paper here.
What?
I said, oh God, cough, cough, it's COVID all over again, baby. Yeah, so she read, that's the best. So we buy, just throw it in the garage if you have to have lucky enough to have the space, but they have really high quality tissue paper, Kleenexes, everything. No, honestly.
It's legit. I mean,
it's the best stuff to buy there. But anyways.
And it's not like you have to worry about storing it too long. Like
Yeah, it has a shelf life. Yeah, that's the best part. Okay, so anyways, on to the next. So Costco, I think it's a buy down here. And as Sharif said, until I find out the story here, what exactly is wrong with retail right now, I think it's fine. I think it's just maybe a little bit of a reshuffle as some of the different sectors are starting to get hot again. We'll talk about Caterpillar breaking through 400 and some of the industrials starting to go now a little bit. I still own some Costco. I haven't bought any of this in forever. I think it's almost time. I like to buy names that are at the 200 period moving average. So Costco just reported last week, 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it's been holding out pretty good, right? Trying to bounce off this 875. I like the long here. There's not too many opportunities over the last couple of years that it's really faded off the 50 period moving average. So if you get something like 840, 850, 860, I think it's a buy because I'm not sure how much further down you'll get. I guess the more I wait for this, the 200 period will load up. But as you see, it's going to be this nice upward slope. So I like Costco here. I think it's a win. I think it's a win for a long time. And you just got to keep on hitting that name. I would start averaging in at the 50 period. I think it's a good spot to start buying. It's not really a name that we'll trade on here too often. The liquidity, although it's pretty good, 1 million shares is nice. I didn't even realize that. It's just, it's in between too much for me with the spreads and just all these dark pools. And we can't trade sub 10 shares here. So sometimes when you're seeing 1 go off, 2 go off, 5 go off, it's not really liquidity that most of the day trading community can hit. So I'm not, again, we'll hold off on trading some Costco, but I like the name. And after Neil's done with this and we go through the rundown, we can talk about Walmart maybe.
They got to split it. No, you already went over Costco. There's not much to add. That 50 period's holding. I'm a buyer of Costco at the 200 period moving average, although you just reminded me. I had a stink bid like last quarter, or maybe it was 2 quarters ago, and I have to adjust it to throw another one in there. I'm going to go ahead and do that. But Walmart, I think, is going to be a value as well. This broke the low today and is consolidating under it. So it's moving a little bit more. This is allergic to the 50 period moving average. Costco's at it. Whoops. Adjusted. I think you got to get all the way down to 75 even. It's broken a few times, but I think you've got some support as this is trying to break back in to the mid 70s. Again, I think that's an opportunity. You don't want to sleep on names like this, but the pullback is certainly happening finally on Walmart. There haven't been big dips in this stock. It's got a great trend going on. There's no point drawing a trend line. You can see it just goes right through it. So just wait for the major moving averages. I think your dollar cost average on a name like this or even like a Costco. Walmart is more tradable, but if you're not already short, it's hard to, I don't like shorting lows of the day in a general sense. Like a stock needs to be pretty special to short the low of the day. It is consolidating under last week's lows. I suppose that means it could pop into maybe 79.90 or the 80 level, give a consolidation and then kind of resume back into the downside. But yeah, probably not an afternoon trade for me, I don't think. Netflix. I was trying to figure out why Disney was so bad. And then we looked at Netflix.
Yeah, there was a kind of double commentary on it today, Neil. One, obviously Barkley chiming in, downgrading it to or from equal weight to underweight, maintaining that same price target though of 550. Then you had TD Cowen maintaining their buy, but raising the price target all the way up from 775 to 820. So Netflix has been a rocket as of late, as you guys have seen. But I want to add into the Walmart talk there, guys. Walmart looking at basically taking on Amazon's drop shipping business, that fulfillment by Amazon FBA. They're looking to undercut them by around 15%. So bringing a lot of drop shippers their way. So something to take into account of.
Not smart. Okay, I don't think it's like, even if you're Walmart, I don't point the gun at Amazon. And I like Walmart. I think there's a lot of opportunities there. But I obviously think that they have such an advantage over the bricks and mortar because Amazon doesn't have that. I think if they stay in their lane, they'll be fine. But I do think going after Amazon, nothing wrong with that. I mean, Walmart might be the one to do it with the logistics and everything there. I would say, who knows what to think about that story. But yeah, maybe if you guys like it. All right, so here's a 20-minute chart here on Netflix. The only thing that I was thinking about is, wow, it's over $700. That's amazing. And that continues to hold. And you could just see here, look at this 700. Although we've wicked below it a couple times, and it looks like early this morning you'd have to really, or is that even, no, that's not this morning. This is a 20-minute chart, so that was a couple days ago. We went down below at 695 or 696 was the low down into there. But other than that, man, we just keep on bouncing off of 700. Like I said, the content is king, and Netflix just keeps on, and Amazon, keeps on coming out with new shows, the international flavor there, all of these, like, I don't even know where the blind date shows. It seems like it's Dubai, Bling, London, this and that. Love is Blind, yeah, Love is Blind, China, Mexico.
Why does no one say stuff like The
everywhere.
Gentleman? I finally watched The Gentleman.
Yeah, well, The Gentleman's great. Well, yeah, it's because it's a couple
Guy
of
Ritchie,
6 months old. Yeah, it's a good one. I told you that when it came out. So that's what I'm saying. There are lots of good opportunities.
But that's how much content is on Netflix.
Right, exactly.
Is
So
that like
I
what
like the stock.
you mentioned it to me? What, a year ago?
I said 6 months.
No, I added it to. Okay, well, it might have been a year ago. I added it to my list. I didn't even get to The Gentleman on not my.
People like you and I don't have that much. Honestly, just we don't. I never watch a movie anymore. Like
gotta do
whenever the
shows.
kids are asleep or whatever, it's like I just falling asleep myself.
Yeah, you gotta
I
wa-
might watch the first 30 minutes of a movie.
Well, that's why I do shows now. I can get through like a half an episode of something, and then I do like a full episode every couple of days. Like, movies are impossible. Netflix has the great content for it. But this $700 level,
piece of TQ.
just the only thing I want to mention here is A, Disney sucks. B, I mean, you guys have seen the chart. Obviously, they were talking about it on the midday show. It's not very good. But the 700 level on Netflix is going to be the key. They grab that today with a bit of a breakdown, but resistance to all kinds of support here on Netflix. This is what I mean by the grab. Right at 9:30, it was a plunge. Look at the turn. A lot of times, if you're like, let's say you're trading Netflix, what you want to see here is it closes, kind of opens up underneath, grabs the bottom. It's like the break back above 700 that you want. Like if you can get this breaking back out above 700 on that quick little liquidity grab there, like right in here, like it breaks down. This is now a 3-minute chart. See, like it's underneath, it tries to break, and then right there is where it takes it out for good. And then you can be long at like 01s with a 700 stop, and it just kind of trends up. So that's what we call getting it on the other end of the trade. Like when you can also buy it on the way down, but then where's your out going to be? But if you wait for it to finally break out above and then get the consolidation trade, especially when you see that support there on the daily chart. So Netflix, I know it's down 1.8%, but still, I think that was a pretty good recovery off 700. Maybe you get that chance a couple times in the future. And then as we mentioned, Disney, taking it again on the chin, like almost 3% to the downside. Not much is good here, except for it holding on to most recent support at $92. I think it's simple. If 92 goes this week, we're going to see the 50-period moving average. That'd be like just over $1 away here on Disney. Outside chance it breaks that. You already bounced off it once today. I'm not really sure it's going to have a chance to do that. In Mara again, but that was like a bit of a lower high play on MARA. So Bitcoin made the rally above 64,000. It kind of lost that on the way back. Mara was the only crypto name that I looked at that was not green was Mara. So we've been short. I missed one chance to short it in here, but now short underneath the 16 level on MARA. Sean James, not the Sean James that beat me in junior high in the 100 meters. The guy was a beast. But Sean James in our chat, why is Google tanking? So sometimes you don't necessarily need a catalyst. And we showed that like Alphabet and Amazon and Meta and Apple, and I'm going to assume, but I haven't checked, and Microsoft. We made the assumption that Microsoft was doing this too. All of these names are weak today. Money is coming out of these staple names. And I feel like sometimes it's just money moving from one place to another. And you saw how strong NVIDIA was, and you saw how strong some of those chips were, and all of a sudden the money came out of everything else in the Magnificent Seven today that wasn't a chip name. Got to bleed. So it just feels like it's the group going down. Alphabet as to why it's worse than the rest, I don't have an obvious explanation as to why that would be true, but it's actually bleeding through the lows here once again. So there's Google. 62 looks like support, and then you got the 50 period down here on the daily. That's where Alphabet would seem to be a buy, because right here is last week's low as we speak. Alphabet bleeding down again.
Yeah, not a great look here. Oh, now here goes the market right now. What are we even doing right now? $2 now in the money right here on Apple spinning lower. The TQs is absolutely crashing. There has to be news or something on something right now. The market is absolutely, it's a tank city right now. I'm going to put some bids out right here, get some bids. Let's go, man. That's $1 quickly on this move. The market is really coming in. There has to be something. I don't hear anything in my ear, unfortunately. I wish I did. I'll check out our platform. I don't see anything, but it is a nice move down. Wow, Apple downside. TQQ's downside. Look at this trade right here. Guys, this is 100 and I don't even know how many handles in the money right now. More than 100 as we continue to go downside right now in the market. Wow, what a crack right there. Okay. Wow. All right. Wow. We just,
What did Kashkari?
All right.
Kashkari.
Yeah,
But I didn't hear anything. I heard something from Kashkari, but like
Cash
everything just absolutely tanked. Let's go to Adara for the news.
Yeah, so we have here just to kind of recap what we have had happen so far in the midday. In case you missed that session, we did have a brief move down in the market just now. It looks like the S&P 500 trying to recoup most of that move to the downside as of right now. A bit of a bottoming tail candle forming on this 15-minute chart. Fed's Kashkari just saying here that the reduction in rents giving the Fed confidence that housing inflation will come down, and they're not seeing signs of resurgent inflation. So not sure if this is what the market is reacting to. We've also had ongoing updates with regards to the situation in the Middle East throughout the day. Apparently, there were some missiles coming in from Lebanon earlier today in Israel. Just some updates there. Also worth noting here on Google, just got this story coming through. Apparently, there's a U.S. judge here, according to a court filing, ordering Google to open up the App Store to more competition. So more antitrust concerns for the lately very embattled GOOGL when it comes to antitrust. In terms of other stocks making moves in the midday, DIS here, the Walt Disney Company, just bouncing off of day's lows, still down about 3%. This one got a bit of a volume spike, a relative volume spike anyway, to the downside after we did have news that the Hurricane Milton now being classified here as Category 5. Of course, we know Disney has the Disney World Park in Orlando, which could be affected here by Milton coming through Florida. So that's of note. Also, more comments coming here through from Fed's Kashkari saying that supply chain disruptions, labor shortages are another source of housing inflation, as is the rise of working from home. Also, apparently, this could be what we had to move down here. Just seeing this coming through now, though, saying, quote, Fed's balance sheet shrinking has a long way to go yet. So apparently still some time for the shrinking of the balance sheet from Fed's Kashkari. Apologize for the wait there. Just saw that comment coming through right now, guys.
So just very quickly, an update position-wise. I was on the bid at the low of the day just because it was the low of the day on Mara. This was the volume spike that just came into the market here. This is the biggest volume spike since it was at the low at midday. So I was able to get, I was already on the bid at 88, then bid 78. I'm just going to jump right back in on the offer underneath $16 there. On NVIDIA, however, NVIDIA just lit grabbed, if you were on this one, 129. So on that move, it just came into the 29 and bounced back. It's going to be a key level to hold. Anytime you get liquidity events like this, the levels that get made where the algos decide to make a market again, I think can be pretty important. That's where I'd be looking if there's any strength to be had in anything at this point. Like, it has to be off that 129 level. I do want to jump over. I was in Intel, and this happened. I went to jump back in. As you can see, there's the wick out. I quickly offered, and it dumped into VWAP. I'm going to short this one back into VWAP. We're short most of the day on the stock, but after getting that wick out, did not get the fill. Going to look to jump right back in underneath the 50 level and then just play scalp mode on that name. So yeah, the market with that little bit of a dump, but I think anything that was already strong, I'd look to maybe those bottoms. Saw NVIDIA hold that level we just showed. 171 held on AMD, so that's not too bad. Like, there you go, like 171. There's a good hold on it on AMD. Relatively strong name. If we're going to get back, if that was just a liquidity grab underneath, I only want to even think about longs in names that are strong, above VWAP, have been trending this afternoon. Really, that's just been the chip name. Everything else has been not good.
Oh, man. Boy. So we're over combined over $4 right now in the money on all of these trades. And I mean, I feel like it's getting bigger and better. The trading is anyways. Like there, I mean, that was a huge move down. That was a huge, like we're 250 now in the money on Apple. And again, like this is a trade that we took earlier on. And we talked about it, and it's still continuing to go to the downside. We want to try to be able to hold, well, not try to be able to hold this. I am holding this for hopefully a little bit of a mover, even more than where we are right now. I mean, it's just been a great day. Palantir just went all the way. I mean, I'm still going to hold, see if we can get a breaker on PLTR, but I think we can get that trade as well coming through. Apple, SMCI, Tesla right now, it's still going lower. And this is why when Nick W in the chat was like, yo, man, Amazon is near those levels, and you were talking about this 181 and change. And again, I'll be right sometimes and wrong other times. There's no doubt about that. But as you could see, I feel like this time we're right. We were already short, and I even posted it up there. I know Neil's just got Mara, but we're Apple, Palantir, and the futures right now short. So we've got like a lot of sort of invested here into this trade. So I like the short. We've been going short, and the last thing I want to do is sort of change up my opinion just because a stock is sort of at a level. That's how I lose, and it's being stubborn, and it's not trusting sort of the instincts. And right there, I mean, this is like a 200 handle. We're huge in the money right now. So if you guys are trading the futures, hopefully you have something short and not long as you're at the low of the day right now. And I mean, if we're going to look at and do a little bit of a look at this and where the TQs can possibly go or where this NASDAQ can possibly go, I mean, right into here, 69. This low right there is 69.50. I feel like we can get caught into there. We're underneath the 50, we're underneath the 200, and we continue to go lower. That little wick bottom is 69.70. That could be a trade if you want to get some out or look to maybe for a possible bounce trade or something like that. But honestly, I mean, I was talking about 20,000 earlier. Looks like that might come into play one more time down there. NASDAQ, 20K. Palantir, for those of you asking, I did not want to reload the 200 period. Maybe we should have. I was actually going to wait for a VWAP trade again, as I thought, okay, we picked the bottom there almost perfectly, right into the past support. So if you go from past support back up to VWAP, that's normally an indicator of where stock could go. And this time it only goes to the 200 and then flops on its head again. Palantir, huge move over the last little while. We want to stay long this stock. But for now, all the shorts coming in. Apple, 250 in the money, man. I mean, that was a good drop area right there. So 223.40. Maybe if we can get out at 223.50 stop back out. We're short at 225.60. So we can't take anything less than $2. So I think that $2 win will be pretty good on that one. I don't consider a win when it's just a trade. These are trades that we plan on winning anyways. So we put those on hoping that and thinking it's going to win. And when it does, we have to have something on to be able to capture and take advantage of that. So yeah, man, so far so good. I feel like we're just kind of repeating ourselves here. Uber, good dip buy opportunities. I mean, I'm just trying to think about waiting for a stock now that we've done this damage, waiting for a stock to come back upside so we can re-short it instead of trying to catch the bid. So I would take a bunch at 226.22 there Apple. For Apple.
222's been a level.
Oh, 222. Yeah, same. I mean, I'd like to take that level as well.
Remember, this is also for Apple. This is the 50 period on the daily right here. Like 222, like 3/4 is the 50 on the daily. Look at the liquidity. Like it basically just bounced off the lows. This is why I don't like shorting stocks at the low of the day at this time of day. I'm looking for a short pop. I already mentioned Intel at VWAP if we were able to even get that. There's SMCI as well. Oh, that level on the daily, that $48.50 level, you've already tested it a couple of times. Now you're getting some lower highs. I'd like to see it maybe do one liquidity grab above 48. Try to break 48, fail that. Don't even get to 48.5, and then try and play that back into the short. I think that could make a little bit of sense. But overall, I mean, this market, it's been slowly grinding to the downside. The only thing that hasn't gone yet is like chips off resistance levels that are, some of them are strong, or wait for a pop to be able to fade. Like that's what you have to do. Like anything that's weak, I don't want to be short at low of the day. I feel like that's usually trappish, but to each their own. Certainly not the way I like to go about it. I think there is some strength going on here. I'm just going to quickly pull up. I mean, oil's been strong, right? So if you're looking at oil futures, which would have just closed probably, you're at the high of the day on like a USO's up there. XOM's having a good day. I look over at that Indo stock, which generally speaking is usually pretty good. Like if we're to continue to break highs, somehow in oil futures, even though they're going to be closing up. This holding VWAP and kind of retaking the tops, it's a good squeeze name when energy is going higher. So that's at least something that can get played to the long side if it can come back in. But like everything else, it's stair-step down. I think you got to be really, really picky if you want any longs anywhere. Like I was watching AMD just now off that 171 level on a pullback, and there's no strength in it yet. So it caught the bid, liquidity grab there. Now it's trying to hold the higher low. Let's see it hold the higher low. Put in even like one green candle or something to show that there's some strength to set up some kind of an entry here in AMD. And that's a strong stock trying to hold green. And it's struggling to even put in a single green candle.
Yeah, look, I'm trying to get a little heated up here because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but we have over 4,000 right now, 3,900, which is not over 4,000, but close enough watching as we speak. And we have under 200 likes. Let's get this like button going, man. Let's get this up to 500 right now. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you haven't done it yet, I don't know if you're on your mobile or what you're on, but please, guys, hit the like and subscribe. We'll check back in this in a couple minutes. Let's get it going a little bit, because if you do hit it, then you get the siren, and then all of your trades will hopefully continue to be profitable here. And if they're not profitable, as long as you hit the like and the subscribe button, then the chances of profitability actually skyrocket. So that's the thing. And this has been proven, but not tested. So, all right, 281 right there. Good. Thank you so much. We almost doubled the likes right there. We need a little bit more. So let's go over 4,000 watching. Let's get these likes going. There it is, 400 likes. There, it's almost a triple right there. So thank you so much for that one more time. And thank you for hitting the like button. All we're trying to do is tell YouTube that you guys have now found the best trading show, and you might as well support it by simply hitting a like. We do have a membership, $5 a month. You get these little cool emojis on here. And I want to thank everybody that's here right now as well. Kaglar, Barrett, Zenod, Alaric there as well. Neo, Rob, everybody. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. And there it is, man. Almost a triple, more than a triple. There you go, Ramin and Fabian. We get tripled up right there on that little idea. So there it goes. Thank you so much. From 185 to 620 and still going. Thank you so much. They like the show, and hopefully you guys are liking the trades today. And let's just keep them coming. Thanks so much for hitting that like button. Means a lot to us. Just keep it coming. Make sure you hit the share and that little bell notification, whatever that right here. I'm already subscribed. Do that. Get the updates whenever we're on there. And there, oh, Fabian, look at that. We have the transcripts there as well. So thank you so much for that. And, you know, pretty soon, once we get Spanish going and all that, then you'll see some crazy Spanish trading where it'll dub over my voice. And you'll hear me going, what is bang? I don't even know what bang is there in Spanish.
Instead of like instead of a chicken dinner winner, you'll get El Pollo
Loco dinner. Yeah, it'll be like all of a sudden we'll get Breaking Bad happening.
I only thought of that because Gus is in The Gentleman.
Yeah.
Well, okay, no. Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes. Well, I might rewatch it.
I'll tell you this right now, though. Whenever you mistake an actor's name for like the character they played instead of their name, that just shows you how iconic they were playing that character. It's never an insult. Like when people say Dwight instead of Rainn Wilson, I mean, to me, like it's one of the more ultimate compliments there. So it means it's an iconic character. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Finally, some strength. All right, we'll tempt fate. There's one of two names. It's not like an energy name that I was at least looking for a bounce play, but here comes AMD. It does puts in some strength. There's the green candle. Now what I want to see is hold above 171.30 in here. 27 was on the offer. Like kind of said the wrong thing there, but need to hold above 171.30. Like give me something above that close, and we'd look for a long, but it's not really giving it to you just yet. Intel did not go back up to VWAP. I can tell you it's actually consolidating underneath. So quick adjustment to plan. You want to trade it where it is, not where you want it to be. So you're getting a consolidation underneath. So I was shorted up here, then I was shorted there. Well, it's showing you the same level from earlier in the day at 222.45 as a bit of a short play. Tomorrow, we're just going to have to hold. I don't even know where we're going to be able to get a dip or a rip to short the pop. I thought we would come right back into 15.9, but instead it's just making fresh lows. So it's going to have to show me a consolidation or a pop back into the prior low to try and reload this trade again. So Mara taking it on the chin. There might be some crypto names maybe that we can catch that have not participated. I'm thinking of you, Riot. Yeah, like Riot. underneath VWAP. It was running all day long. Now it's in a downward trend. Do we have free locates on this? Check here.
Right?
Yeah, we have free locates. Actually, I haven't traded
we don't have
in
to
a
pay
while.
for Mara either, do we? I don't.
There was a point where we used to pay for locates on Mara, but we don't have to do them yet. So you know what? I'm going to look for VWAP on Riot. But before we get to that, I want to shout out to WorkSport here, introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ. Ticker WKSP. It's WorkSport, a US-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off the grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, WorkSport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under ticker WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport. And hey, you know what? Clean energy matters. One of the least talked about things when it comes to, everyone always says, okay, EV this, EV that, solar this, solar that. There's so much more when it comes to clean energy. And the other thing to consider is how dirty chip business is. Well, what's dirty is the market heading back into the downside. You could have just 1560 is coming in on Mara. I got to go to the daily chart to show you. Here we go. If we get down here, this is the prior support at 15.5. I guess that's where we're going. Right in here to 15.5. I'm actually going to get the bid in now. That's going to be the out. I want to jump into Riot if I can get that in front of VWAP. Just give me something that hasn't flushed yet.
Guys, 140 handles now in the money as the market is just really coming in here again. So just be careful with whatever you're doing, but what we're doing is just really doing a little bit of this because it's still coming in. I mean, we talked about where we wanted to get out of Apple if and when there was a problem, but I guess 99 problems, Apple short is not one. We were talking about up here. I might just get out at 223. I don't know. This is quite the move down here for AAPL, and I like it. So, yeah, we'll just keep on chugging here with this name and go over to Adara, find out what's going on.
We have the S&P 500 now down over 1%, as is the NASDAQ. This comment coming out a few minutes ago, but just worth noting in case you missed it. We did have Fed's Kashkari saying that there is now, quote, huge uncertainty around what the neutral Fed funds rate is. We've seen a couple other Feds mention this as well. Fed's Kashkari saying that he now sees the neutral Fed funds rate as close to 3%. We know previously the Fed was looking for a neutral rate of 2%. So interesting look here. Not sure if that is what is moving this market to the downside, but worth noting, we also just have apparently here the Israeli military here issuing a new evacuation warning on specific buildings in Beirut's southern suburbs. So new evacuations as we get more updates on what's going on in the Middle East and a volume uptick to the downside on the SPY, guys.
Good thing when we hear like negativity happening in this world. But I mean, as a day trader, we love this volatility. I mean, this Apple trade right now is $3. $3 in the money off this hold. And again, I took it to heart, man. You guys are texting me all the time, sliding in the DMs. You want longer trades. You want to hold these things for longer. You want to have some ideas for futures trading. You want to have all of this. Well, now we are 200 handles in the money now on this futures trade. I don't know what else to do. We basically have the top of the day as it continues to make moves down into the bottom of the day right now, and it keeps going lower. That little quick take right there was like, wow, and now we continue to fall even lower. Now Apple is all over itself right now. Look at this Palantir trade. I mean, this is what we're doing here. We're trying to do this for you guys every day, and just there's another trade. It's Palantir. It's a good one. It's some downside love right there for PLTR. Now 50 cents in the money. We have it combined. Remember before I was like, okay, we had $1.50 in the money. Now we have $3 on Apple, $3.30 on Apple, $2 on the NASDAQ right now. So that's $5, Neil, plus another 50 cents. $5.50 right now in the money on these trades. So let's go, man. Let's just keep it going. Good trading over here. I know you're looking to get into something. I had talked about not going long on anything, so I feel pretty good to have stuck with our guns here and just absolutely nailed trading here today. So again, man, Monday, day it ends in Y. Let's go. I mean, this is what we do here every single day. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Let's go make sure you follow us all on socials.
Exactly, and I got out of Mara. We talked about 15.5. So this was my level. This was the bottom last week. We basically played the range, and this was in the note this morning that we liked it for short because it was relatively weak. And just to give you an idea, like why did we like it short? Simple. It had failed the 50 period already once. It had wicked the 50 period on Friday. all of crypto was relatively strong. It tried to break the high when everything else in the crypto space was able to. It failed the top, short once, short again, did miss that short the reload, and now it's 15.5. So last move, a couple of points. Overall, this one 7% from the highs down to the lows. And if you see something trending, you want to try to find entry points along the way. It was a little trickier. I think there was a really good shot in here. Mr. Deleuze would be like, why didn't you take this one? I agree. That was right when we were looking at SMCI for some fade trades. But it goes right into target at 15.5 when the NASDAQ's trying to bounce off 20,000. So I am jumping out of the trade. I don't mind shorting pops, but it just made the move we're looking for from the last vestige of support all the way to the bottom. I did jump over to Riot and want to pick it up in the bottom of this range if I can, because it's trying to continue to go as well. Not nearly as weak as MAR was, and that's why we're on MAR pretty much the entire day. Obviously, Intel, like it is what it is, but look at the rollover that just happened. Like this just cratered to the downside. So this is another one. Like I was shorted all day, but that's just an epic. Not happy with it. I got wicked out, didn't get back in. But as long as you're looking at the right names, I think you're going to be good to go. So if we get any kind of a pop, this name, forget about VWAP. It's now back to $22.30. That's going to be from support to resistance. So there you go. Any pop back into 22.3, and this is what we're going to work with over here. So pretty much all day long, like the only short I had all day long, I just jumped out of it because it got the target. Now it's just going to be on to the next. Next is going to be shorting pop, Intel, short pop into VWAP in Riot, as that's continuing to follow along with the rest of its crypto brethren.
You know, it's a riot here. We posted this earlier, right? I mean, and this was a very, very simple play for us. Off 3 hours ago, this was my very first talk here on Apple. We started saying, okay, guys, we're shorting here. We talked about this, so if you're following along, that was at 10:30. Then we updated it again at about 11 o'clock as it started to fall in, and we were just saying, okay, we're taking some pieces out right here. But we've taken nothing else out since then, and there's the move down now. So there's our last talk about getting it out, and here's the move right now. Down over 350 in the money right now on Apple, and I'm going to play the other way and just hold on to these things. We have our stops. I mean, like I said, if I get out, it will be on a force out. Like we'll have to get stopped out on the way back up at some kind of level. And I'm even just thinking right here, these are already almost 200 handles in the money, and we can't get too greedy. Well, we can, but we don't need to. So 69.80. Why don't we just get out that 69.70? I mean, we're almost here right now. It's not like this is a huge movement here. We can actually go over to a 5-minute candle and have a quick little look. That would be all the way up here at 70 prior bar close. I mean, we could wait for that. I mean, we could do that. But let's just do that. I mean, our stop on this trade is literally 71.60s. So our stop on this trade was 30 cents. So the fact that we're in the money now at $1.90, I mean, that's not bad. So why don't we just put a stop here in case this market does want to continue lower? We'll put a stop. We only have 5% left anyways, so $70. So there we go, $70.01. We'll just put a stop there. Just trying to use a little bit of a larger time frame right here on that stop out. As far as Apple is concerned, I mean, wow, we keep on changing our stops. $220, $350 now. This is almost $4. Well, we're $350 now in the money, and we talked about where we had liked this trade in the past, where we like it now. And yeah, what about that little wick higher right there? $222.60. So now let's change where we were getting out on Apple, $223.50, and move this name to $222.60. So a little bit of a stop out on Apple there right now. But hey, we're just cruising. Like I said, we're almost $6 in the money total positions, which is got me doing pretty good right now. Palantir, again, we have that 10% left. I mean, all these outs, right? I got to take an out there if it comes into that low again, right? So that was something that we had to take. The reload, I did actually think about that reload, did not take it, should have. There's the drip on Palantir here into the close. So it's only 254. We're not even in power hour yet, and we're holding on to all these monsters. Maybe we'll get stopped out, maybe we will not. But at the end of the day, I like the short, and I'm going to try to stay short. So 241 now coming in for Tesla. Wow, that name wants to break lower as well. It looks like we're trying to gap out right now, like through that 240-250. That was a hell of a trade there if you're able to grab that one for Tesla. But, you know, that would have been a good spot to get short. Now we look to maybe buy 238, 239. So if we can get into that area for TSLA, I think you might be happy with it. So that will be an area to look to buy some weakness. But honestly, man, we're just sitting back on our hands right now. We'll be fine doing what we're doing, getting ready to go. My wife said I need to get apparently the new Apple Watch beta, I guess, iOS 11 is crazy. It's telling people like well before they're sick that they're not feeling well. So I'm trying to download. I think it just updated, but I got to activate that part on my phone.
I'll tell you right now, that's a godsend because like my Whoop like when I wake up in the morning, like if there's certain readings that I'll get with my recovery, and if it's bad enough, like if it's a low enough score, like little things like, hey, maybe taking a little extra vitamin C or make sure you eat really well today or get a bit of extra rest because clearly something's off. Respiratory rate, it tracks that, resting heart rate, all these really fantastic metrics. I'm telling you, those products are amazing. And I'm glad my parents both have the Apple Watch. It's like that peace of mind, man. That peace of mind that I think is fantastic. Great products. They're taking it on the chin a little bit today, but let's be real. If you're at the 50-period moving average, you're doing okay. Going to get to Riot, but I have to pull up Snowflake. You mentioned Palantir, and I forgot to talk about Snowflake today because Snowflake. So Riot just curled off of $8. We're looking for something that was playing a little bit of catch-up. So opening range bottom, $8. It curls off 8, bounces here, tries to break through. At exactly 8 it holds. Got 97 on the way down, stop over $8. Bids into the pre-market low. Now we're at 91, and then we're going to be in the 80s. But while the market bleeds here, Snowflake, load. Here we go. I know it's at the low of the day, but there's the daily chart. So only 1% down. I actually feel the fact that it's not rejecting off this resistance, which has been here for a while at 116, it's really not that big of a rejection today to only be down 1 point on a stock which has been terrible. So holding up here, and even if it can hold on to a higher low again and not retest the 110, I feel like the breakout still can be this week on the stock. But I got the eyeballs on it, not because it's breaking down or that the chart's poor. It's more the fact that this market is down 1.1% and a trending down weak stock is basically the same as the NASDAQ. Well, I think that's possibly a good sign that the breakout is imminent on Snowflake. That said, you should be shorting 115 as a day trader, but that's not the stock that we're interested in trading. So we jumped over to Riot because Mara, we felt it hit the bottom right in here. It just wicked the bottom and is trying to come back up. If this were to bounce, I think it's a short right back in at 1590, 1595, something along those lines. I would love to get back into that one at some point. I pulled up Microsoft and to look at, and I've done this so many times. I wanted to check out what MSTR was doing, and I pulled up one of my level 2s to Microsoft. But I was looking for crypto names that hadn't maybe given you the flush. MSTR is super strong. This was up, I feel like double digits at one point, or at least close enough to it at its best, maybe 9% up. It's lost VWAP, consolidating underneath. This is no different from the Riot trade and the consolidation. I was kind of hoping this would be at VWAP for a trade to the downside. Yeah, what goes up must come down.
Yeah.
Every Page's thoughts on Back to the Future. Back to the Future is a fantastic and underrated movie. The nuances of the time travel storyline they have there are fantastic. Like there's so many continuity stuff that they really thought about ahead of time that are fantastic. Team PJCT VIX move higher.
Team Project.
I mean, yes. I think.
Wait, what?
No, without even look. Because here's the thing: like without even looking, you're getting some bad headlines. You got Kashkari waxing poetic. You got the market moving up. So I'm going to pull up UVXY because that's the way we can trade it here at Real Trading if we'd elected to trade it. And it's a bit of a consolidation, but it's just stair step to the upside. If we take out a fresh high, that's just more confirmation of the trade.
Oh, God.
It should be shorts until it's not, right? Like you look at UVXY, and if you want to find something to the long side and you don't want to trade like a reverse ETF for the market, then this can be the thing you go into. I've dabbled in the past in this. I don't remember. I feel like we couldn't short this for a while.
So we
No, we can't. We can't short UVXY.
We can, right?
No, we can't.
I think
You have to pay for locates on
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. It'll be cheap. I think you should
Yeah.
try to look into it for sure. Okay, so we made the mistake of trying to go long on something, and here goes Micron. We will get, it looks like stopped out here of Micron. I was waiting for 102.25. Looks like be a 25-cent hit here. There it goes on Micron. We'll have to hit fail. I was sitting here like, I don't want to go long anything. And then how does that taste, Micron? It goes right into the long, and we get stopped out. The reason why I liked it, I just thought we were pulling back into this 102.50 area. It looked pretty good to me. Below VWAP, though, and then there's the 50 period. The show has now concluded. No, that's our conclusion.
It's like the wrap it up
Sound.
music from like
Yeah, that's like the that's
the
what I'm saying. It's like, yeah,
Oscars.
the
wrap up your speech.
American Music Awards. There, get it over with.
Oh,
That's a wrap.
yeah,
The
yeah,
market is over with now. But okay, so just I want to talk about that because I thought this was a good opportunity to try it. Here, being a day trader, we don't have to. Like, we shouldn't get into something if you don't really like it, but I didn't mind that trade. Again, I thought the 50 period here on the 20-minute could have held, but it does not. And this just goes with sort of some of that stuff that I was trying to think about earlier was why bother to trade against the market? And we say that all the time. We don't need to, because I can cancel my Palantir order at the top. I don't think that's going to come in. We don't need to trade against the market. And right now, the market is clearly doing what we thought it would, and that's go short. And we had talked about that today. Earlier, we put on that Apple trade. We put on a lot of these trades, quite frankly, hoping for this result. And it looks like we are getting that result now to the downside. So again, on our note, right, we tweeted it out earlier. It's on our watch list as well. You guys can go get that. We had Fed talk happening all throughout the afternoon. So let's go find out what the story is with the Dara.
Not too much of a market reaction here, just continuing to push lower, but just to note, we did get the consumer credit change for the month of August coming through here at 3 p.m. 8.93 billion was the change. The forecast was 12 billion. Previous was $25.45 billion. So again, actual number here, smaller than all of those, coming in at 8.93 billion. SPY just continuing to chop lower with a bit of a volume decrease, but just in case that was what that number was there, guys.
Here,
Very much
I want to
there,
get back into Micron.
Nvidia's at VWAP.
Is
I
it?
feel like, AMD never really set up
Right,
that
small
171, so it didn't look very good. But Nvidia is holding the morning range top. So when it broke 127, you can see like the top here was 127.80 or so, and it just held on to 128. So I think you've got a nice little opening range resistance turning into some support here. If there's something to this and we get back above 20,000, I can't think of a name that I'd rather be in to the long side than Nvidia. Not going to reload Riot down here. I feel like if it just breaks 8, we're just going to get out. Mara, if we get to that 16 level, I look over, Mara's like 8 cents off of the low of the day, so there's not much of a pop happening there. But I'm going to look at this 128, see if we can't catch a bid off VWAP on Nvidia. It's one of the strong ones today. I suppose you could look at SMCI as well. But the way I see it, SMCI was right at that resistance on the daily chart. I just don't like the long when it was so parabolic, when like 15% up, right into monster resistance on the daily was a squeeze name. That's not what I want in the unwanted. I'd rather pick up a more stable name, for lack of a better, and it's not lack of a better word, it's just true. It's more stable by the dip in Nvidia than SMCI, in my opinion. Like, which one do people actually want to hold? My guess is I answer a rhetorical question.
Yeah, I think that's just by the stock price, I think. But SMCI is good. We talked about that double bottom. or triple bottom and that sort of that base. Talked about that with Danielle Shea and actually said, I think it's a buy down there. And she said, sorry to disagree with you. And it was just fine. Different people will do different trades, but shout out to Danielle Shea. And we wish her the best of luck, and she'll be back with us hopefully end of November or so. All right, so we got back into, probably maybe later than that actually. We got back into Micron. You might have heard me say, like, let's just give this a try, see if it wants to go back up. I'm going to give it a little bit more room. And, I like the stock. We talked about sort of maybe why we're in this. Again, it's strong on the day still. They had that good report. They're falling back in. I don't mind the name. Talking myself into this when we probably shouldn't be into it at all. And that's going to be Micron. So we're going to have to wait now as it's still trying to go upside now. Micron. But, for now, it's just chilling. We'll see if it has any love there now for an upside play here with Micron. But that's what we're doing, just waiting for that, just getting some orders set up here. Palantir, I was waiting at 50s for MU. Maybe we got to go just a little bit lower on that one as a possibility there. But, yeah, that's what I'm doing here, Micron. It's what's on my mind. That's the only trade that I have on right now, as opposed to Apple. We already sort of have our stops. We Talked about where we were looking at for that one to come through again on Apple. But yeah, that's it right there, breaking that top of 222.55. I almost think it might be worth something else. We might be able to take a little bit of an advantage here of a push higher and then even go long on this if it does break. But for now, I like the position that we're in. It's starting to make a little bit of a move here. It's Apple looking to take that out. So just so you guys know, 222.61 is going to be our out. You can even go a little bit higher or right now, but I'm going to give it that. The TQs are out on this one is 70 flat. Maybe we can even adjust that right here in case we go. How about just a 69.50 end the trade, man? Take your 150 or whatever the handles are right now and get out of that one. 69.61 as an out right here, just using that little shelf break right there as our out. So you might as well do that. We'll put an offer in there to get some out. But yeah, this is what we're doing so far, and it's been pretty good. So maybe we'll have an opportunity to get some more shares in. But who knows? I don't know if you're looking long yet. You got
only
NVIDIA. So I like that trade. I think there's something here. We're still long on Micron.
Well, the reality is
not moving. But
everything, all Mag 7 were down except for the chips. So if you're going to go long here, it should try to be a chip name that look. Well, I mean, that's just my opinion. And I was looking over, and we got a question from Matt was asking. You just said ARM with a question mark.
We're out of Apple.
I don't know if that was with reference to, like, is that a buy the dip? It's under VWAP. Like, NVIDIA is here. Like, NVIDIA is at VWAP, up more. ARM is just turning red or trying to not stay red. So strong move. You're holding a key resistance from the morning as a support on NVIDIA. That's why I like it. ARM's different. It's underneath everything. I think if it could have broken out VWAP and you're above here, that looks great. So you got 140 that sits out there on ARM. That's not a big level. 135 is the bigger one. So I don't really see a heck of a lot that I'm in love with on ARM for long. If anything, like it just feels like that should be a short under VWAP if I was playing trend back in, losing the opening range. I think it's just my 2 cents. I mean, if you're a long ARM, it's had a great rally, no question about it. But yeah, it looks a little bit weaker relative to other names today. And remember, sometimes you see that go the way of Apple recently. I know, there's been a lot made about the technology, ARM's technology being a big part of the expected boon in Apple sales. So if Apple has demand issues and ARM isn't as good, maybe that's why it's relatively weak today when the chips have been so strong. But that's just a guess. It's under VWAP. It's not as strong as NVIDIA or AMD or insert chip name here. Except for Intel. Yeah, I mean Intel's.
We're not inputting Intel's name.
Yeah, Intel's different.
Okay, yeah, Intel different for sure. All right, just real quickly, I'm going to get out of Palantir if it breaks 39, not 40, $40. That was an out right there. We do conclude our other trade. Bang. What a trade this was, man. This was basically shorting rate up here, 2,000, 20,160 out, basically on the break higher now through 20,000. So 160 or so handles right there on the out for the TQs. Let's just put a bow on that one and wrap that thing up. That's, again, for me, I can't do much else. I mean, I like that trade. Try to hold it. We could hold more, but at the same time, I feel like it's a good little level there. And look what's happening right now. Let's go, Micron. You can do it, baby. We'll take a 57. I was going to wait for a 60, but there it is. We take a 57 and cancel our 60s. All right, Micron. Yeah, buddy. Well, yes, sir. All right. We'll take a small hit early, and now we'll make that back a little bit here as it goes back into the 60s. Now a 35-cent winner here on Micron. I mean, we did get out there once it broke through 27s. Remember, our average long was like 38, 39, so 16 or 17 cent hit. I can double check exactly after this, but there's a nice upside play for Micron. I know you've got NVIDIA, so that's great. We talked about looking for something that we could flip around, right? Ooh, wow, look at Pfizer. Pfizer all the way at the bottom again. This was used to be my number one P&L name there, as we had a great trade for Pfizer early. This makes me think, man, maybe we should just be doing this. Take our big trades early, which we do, and then just get out. And then if they reload, we can reload them. And we should maybe be doing that on Pfizer right now. The only problem is it's not setting up, right? I mean, it's underneath the 50, underneath the 200, underneath VWAP. So for me, puff, pass right now to Pfizer. All right, nice move up for this name here. What's getting high right now might be Micron, as it's going to the high side, and we'll take a 70 deucer right there. Can we get 40 cents? Yes, we can. And there's a nice move right there for that one, and we'll spin some more on that. Look, I mean, there's the trade right there. I'm glad you got NVIDIA, but we got Micron right now, and it's, as the kids say, or they do not, it's lit.
Is that what
Past
they say?
tense.
It is. See, I feel like lit was one of the
It
ones
is
that
Sigma trade.
used to get said. Yeah, Sigma gets said way too often.
Yeah, actually, I never get said in my house anymore.
Well, I think
that was like a pre-summer thing.
I think the grade twos, my daughter's in grade 2. I feel like they're a little bit like behind the trends. So like I get all the stuff that's
Just a
like,
little bit?
way behind. Oh shoot, I was about to get. I had it in the chat that I was going to answer a question. I'll try to find it again. No, it was Day Trader Cut. Said not to fight the NVIDIA trend. I don't know. I don't think I'm fighting the trend here. I kind of waited for it to hold VWAP, lick grab under VWAP, make a higher low. So once it reversed that, made the higher low, did that off of VWAP, it's trying to pull back in. If it can hold the higher low at 128.25, I think it's good for resumption up to 129. All right, Mara's starting to come in here. So while this is going down, Mara's going up. This might provide an opportunity to get back into this. It's about 1580. That was the prior low. So once, twice, thrice. You guys can see it there. That liquidity grab on the futures move to the downside was also at the 15.8. I want to get on the offer and see if we can't get back into Mara. If it breaks 1580, then I want to be out of that one. So just jumping on the offer to grab Mara as that is bouncing higher. Bitcoin's well under 64,000. That was one of the rules I had for myself. So we're back in there. NVIDIA's trying to hold on to this higher low, but I don't want to reload it on weakness. I want to reload it on strength. We still have 50 minutes to go in the day. There's no need to rush it. If it's going to trend off of VWAP, then I want to see it show me that strength entry, not the one where we're catching the falling knife. Tesla in here feels like it has made a bottom. You know what? 241. This was the low. Yeah, this was that low on the delivery number day. So 241, look at it the next day. Resistance, support, 241's where we're bouncing right now. Tesla might have made a bit of a bottom here. I know you don't want to be fighting the trend, ever looking for bottom picks, but if it's a very key level, the one that you had to wait all day long for it to get there, those are the kind of spots that are worth taking a shot. Make sure it's on your terms. Make sure it's at that really big level. It's kind of like the SMCI short. Wait for it to get to the big level on SMCI. Into Mara, looking for a reload on NVIDIA. Just want to see it hold up some more strength. Tesla, I feel like you already had that bottom. Buying it $1 off the low, not my cup of tea.
All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, nothing. All right. Send me a tweet. Okay. Yeah. I don't have really. It's not like we're speechless here, but nothing's to me. We've sort of just need to calm down. I mean, we're coming in here into Power Hour, and we sort of have the trades on. We can look at what's coming through for earnings. I mean, we have Pepsi coming tomorrow morning. That should be an exciting print coming through for Pepsi. Again, been really beat up over the last little while as some of the consumer, we talked about that XLC, he was talking about some of the consumer names earlier was Joe, and here it comes down in for Pepsi, so a nice move down right now. Again, decent dividend, pretty stable obviously, and Pepsi not been a huge winner or anything, but pretty stable. Like we said, yeah, actually if you've been holding this all year, you've been pretty upset about it. But you can't be overweight everything on tech. If you have been, congratulations, especially the last 20 years. But Pepsi right here, just coming back into its year, I don't even know, it might be flat on the year. I mean, you're up just a couple points right now on the year from 165 right into these levels. So nice downside push into 163. I think you could probably buy that. Remember, they did get hit, of course, and that's in the rear view now. But all those GLP-1s and things like that, and they really absorbed that quite well. And if you're looking at a more higher time frame, there it was, 198 just before. That's basically last year, summertime, it had its high. And this was, I believe, the GLP-1 scare, which brought it back down into 158, 160. So if you get a dip for Pepsi, which I'm not sure what their earnings will be. I mean, I have no idea, but I feel that if they're anything bad, you're going to get a test back in here into 158. And I think that's worth buying. You want to buy great names on discounted prices. I mean, and that's why when NVIDIA went down into 104, 105, it was like the Cookie Monster down there. You'll take as many shares as you can. It's reminded, and I just think it reminds me honestly of Meta back down there when it was near 100 and we break 600 today. The same thing was with Netflix, that went down to 100. All of these names, as we can talk about it over and over again, will have. Apple has at least 2 or 3 20% drops per year in that stock on Apple. No matter what the market's doing, it has those drops. And so does NVIDIA. We talked about this on the after show with Joe there on Friday when I pulled that guy on. And it was just like, hey, these stocks, what goes up must come down. And it doesn't mean that's going to come down in a straight line or anything like that. But watch out for Pepsi earnings later on. I mean, even a stock like, we can talk about how much we like ARM and how I think it's going to be a great investment. And it has been a great investment. I mean, it's IPO'd at $50 or something like that down here, right? And so there it is. Look at this move. But then look at the trade, like, look at all the ups and downs. Like, sure, you don't have ARM at 50 where it IPO'd, fine, okay? But if you're shorting it, I mean, it went from up here 163, just even that, the one move down, that's 60% in like a week. It went down there. And then it comes all the way back up, makes that 60% right back in another week, travels 120% back and forth there in a month. Back in the beginning of the year, then drops all the way down to 87. So then it gets cut in half from 160 down to 87. Then it goes from 87 to 190. Then it goes from 190 down to 110. It dropped 70% of its values or so from there to there. Like, so these roller coaster rides continue to exist, man. You just got to make sure you're there for them. Pick up good names at valued prices. And that's why I put on here, this is just for myself. This is what I do. This is why you capture some of these trades at the 200 period moving average. So that for ARM would be a dip down into 125, which we could get tomorrow. I mean, who knows? But that would be a good little opportunity there for ARM to buy some of these dips. But that's why you want to keep it going, man. If you're in a long-term game, you either want to buy indexes when they dip down or these higher quality names. That's what I've been doing. It's been really working out. Last buy, of course, we bought some Berkshire. We talked about that. But the last real reload was something on NVIDIA. And we were actually lucky enough because sometimes you don't get the opportunity to sell at the highs and buy at the lows. I often find like when you sell stock, it's hard to get back into it. And I remember we sold some NVIDIA, again, 128, I believe it was, up into this area. And we're able to somehow buy it down here. And we tweet these out when we do it. Down there to 105. So now we'll take advantage of this move back to the upside. Watch what happens here at 130. But I really like NVIDIA. It's a long-term hold, although I'm talking about my swing account there. The 200 period Piper on the daily is what I really like.
It's like the gold level for a good stock. The way my whole thing with the 200 period on the daily is if it's not a place that you would add to a position you're looking to add to, or it's not a place you'd buy a stock that you're looking to get into, then you don't really like the company. Right? It gets looked at on it's looked at in the higher time frame by a lot of institutions. It's a great support level. If you're holding underneath it, usually you're a really bad stock, trending really bad. And if it's underneath the 200, I'm really concerned. If it's underneath the 50 period, maybe not the end of the world. So this silver stock, and good call to anyone that mentioned this, it was halted multiple times this morning to the upside, or I guess this like early afternoon. It just halted again with a VWAP break. And admittedly, this was brought to my attention when it was underneath VWAP, and I was like, hey, maybe I should take a breakout in this. Elected not to, mistake, and now halted at 972. It's indicating 973. It was actually indicating a higher tap, and then by the time I looked at it again, it's indicating a flat open, but it's worth a watch. Back above VWAP, if it can hold on to this support area here at the 3/4, maybe even the 50 mark, decent chance that it can rally. These guys have that breathalyzer technology. It doesn't really matter. It's just a low float runner, and you can see it breaking out. Although it was a dip, a big dip off of those highs at $12. I like the VWAP hold here in the afternoon with some time, but not a lot of time for it to make some more entries for the long. I think VWAP is a good place, 950. We'll see it open up in, I guess, 3 minutes because it just halted. But yeah, be careful. I don't like ever trading these if you get past like 335, 340. Never want to get wrapped up in a halt and then it doesn't open back up until 4 o'clock. So you want this to open, give you an entry off VWAP, and maybe one shot it along into the highs, at least for myself. Intel back in here. It just got to the low of the day. Well, sorry, not the low of the day. The prior low or tried to get to the prior low and rejected. So 22.25, really it was 22.30, but it's adjacent to it. So took the curl short on the pop, 22.21 here. We'll give it to the 25 level. NVIDIA is trying to hold on to VWAP. We're in it for the first bounce. It's still trying to show some more strength off of VWAP here. You're holding 20,000 at least for now. I want it to bust back out above the 50 level. So I think there's a chance we can see the 29. I just want to see another green candle, and then we'll jump in. Mara, since re-entry, has gone sideways. So I took the 74th, we'll stop at 80. It's high as 77, and it's just kind of consolidating here. So the right spot, I think, to look for a reversal, but it's not exactly dropping off the face of the earth like it was before. This is the most green candles that Mara had been able to stack up in a row in quite some time. So we're back into it. Right, NVIDIA is starting to go now. It's going to get through that 50 any second. Like it's going to want to punch through this 128.50 level with the NASDAQ holding on to 20K.
Are you out of NVIDIA? You're out of NVIDIA, yeah. So I feel like the same thing here. A little bit of a back and forth situation happening. We're still fine with everything. I mean, Micron I did not reload it, but at the same time, I'm not in it either. So, I'm still in it, but not reloaded it. So that's what I wanted to get over with. We did get some out there. We got a lot out. I don't know. We got 60% out. So there's 20, 40, 60. It came up to VWAP. I still like that level. I still think it's a good one to trade. Let's just see if it gives it to us right now. Micron, nice upside play here. If we're able to, that would be pretty sweet. So we'll see about getting that right now on Micron. Nice upside move. Palantir, I thought we were getting stopped out at a 39 break. I don't know what wound up happening there. Oh, it's because I actually put 40. That's hilarious. Remember when I was like, oh, we're going to get out on a 40 break? Well, that was wrong. We wanted to get out on a 39 break. So let's just put a bid out here on Palantir. We're on another screen. We'll put a bid and get that out. We'll bid O's, see if we get an O fill on Palantir. We meant to get out once it broke there. So a couple good outs, man. If we could just review some of these. Apple gets out right here, right where we're at. I mean, it does go upside a little bit. Bounces off. That was a real nice move off the 50 period. So we could look for maybe that to happen one more time for us again. Our futures trade, again, out right here. Basically the same level. I don't mind that position. Maybe we could get it, maybe we can't again for the futures. It's right here, right now. I kind of like where we are there. The only thing that maybe we could have reloaded, and we talked about Pfizer, is right here, right now, near those day lows. This could be a long, but for me, we don't need to be looking anywhere long. Oh, we got Palantir there breaking through O's, so that looks like that'll be a good trade right there. We got filled at O's. I don't know. We're out of it. We wanted to get out if it broke, so we'll take that fill right there. Anyway.
That Sober reopened.
Okay, did it?
Suffice to say, there was not a test of VWAP on Sober. It opened right at actually break even on the halt, pretty much to a dime. Broke $10, got to 10.40. It's still holding above. So SOBR up 167%. I was looking for maybe it would like lit grab underneath VWAP and give you some kind of an entry there off of support at $9, but you're not going to get that. It doesn't seem. And if you do get that, well, you probably don't want it. I think it needs to hold the halt price now, or maybe lit grab the halt price, get back above 980. When I say lit grab the halt price, I mean break 970, hold 950, come right back, retake 80. Then you can go 80 long with a 50 stop or wherever the heck the bottom would happen to be in that moment. All right, so unfortunately, no entry in that stock. If it's going to run, I don't want to grab it off the highs, not this late in the day. Tesla is not going to give you 41s. I feel like, yeah, I thought Tesla was actually moving, but the answer is no, it's not. So NVIDIA did break that 128.50 level, going right into that prior resistance here at the 75.80 mark. It's going to take some out there, although Intel just broke the quarter, so we're short at 22s, out when it broke that 25. So we're short in this consolidation to get out right there. And NVIDIA is going up. So it was about 3 cents on Intel. NVIDIA needs to punch through 129 this time. So I think this is, it's holding on to VWAP. Sold off at 129 before. 20,000 just got held. If it can break through 129, I think we can see that 130 test one more time. Just looking for that last rush here on NVIDIA. Try to do what it can for the rest of the market. Doesn't feel like if it loses 129, it's going to be a good reload because we'll be at like 330 at that point. And if you're losing VWAP that late in the day, I'm not going to want to fight that battle. Not a hill I want to die on with the market, what it did in the afternoon. It needs to break 129 and do it within the next 5-10 minutes.
All right, we're being a little patient here with Micron and just giving it some room. I was looking at Starbucks. I mean, this has been a real strong stock off the bottom. I mean, the last hour or so, there's nearly a red candle there. 95.40 to the downside, up about 50 cents, just straight up from, I guess that's not a last hour, that's only the last half hour, from 3 o'clock all the way up here. Wow, it's 3:30 already, okay. As that's making a nice move higher, that's Starbucks. And again, off of VWAP right now, still underneath it, so that could be something, but I was really thinking that this stock might be one that wants to eventually go higher. Starbucks breaking through 96.10. So if you are thinking of a long right now into the market, what about Starbucks? That could be something breaking a little bit higher. I also think Uber, we had some news about Uber, I believe, today, somewhere anyways, and that was, I can't remember what exactly the story was. I don't remember. But again, I know that we're looking at Uber because of the robo-taxi. So there is something there about that one. But again, robo-taxi news, Uber, nice little basement there at 73.80 there for UBER. Again, a name that's fallen down and just stronger than the market. What's up, Adara?
We had both Cantor Fitzgerald here and Truist with positive ratings here on Uber being maintained. Cantor Fitzgerald maintaining overweight here with a $90 price target. Then we had Truist actually raising their price target from $88 to $99 and maintaining a buy rating. So not one, but two positive analyst notes for UBER this morning ahead of the robo-taxi event on Thursday, guys.
Okay, so that makes sense. So there you go. So I mean, a couple upgrades there, a couple morning notes from Uber. And again, like look at that move early. So if you're thinking long on this stock, you know, you get exhausted once the market sort of slows down, but wow, what a good move early. And then this is why I'm looking at it, right back into this level. So if you like the longs, you're in and around some rough area there. Uber possibly for that long, back into 73.80 or so. So we'll see what winds up happening there for Uber. But again, like the long, but it has to come back in. I don't really want to chase any longs here. So I'm not going to do that. We're in Micron. We're just going to give it to that bottom again, see if there's any work there. But so far, so good. Just sitting here, waiting and being super patient. I almost think like we should be reloading the futures here, maybe for a downside push into the close. You know, can't break the 50-period moving average. Have a little top there at 69.80. That could be something. A little bit of a risk spot as the futures could bounce because we're at 20,000 right now. We actually we called this 20,000 move. That's why we were able to cover our futures. And here it comes. Maybe we go a little underneath it now. Maybe we could short the TQs with the 80s being a top. I don't completely hate that trade. If you want to try it, we can try it. I'll put a little bit on here. Triple Qs, that's the futures right now. Short as we dance around 20,000. Maybe we don't hold, right? And if we break lower, that'd be good. So 69.80, small little risk spot here for the T triple Qs.
Yeah, I want to shout out Pretty Panda in a second, but we just failed to hold that 128.5. We got the break at 128.5, right into it. Best prints were up at 85s on NVIDIA, but then it lost it. So it's almost 3:30. I want to have a look to see if there's any early look imbalances, but I want to get to sober for a quick little second because it was a really good point they just got made. And I don't disagree with it. Like for stocks like these, let them pull back, give you consolidation to trade off. That's always the preference. When I was describing like the liquidity grab trades, once it goes into a halt stage, about the only other trade that I like is something that you can structure off of the halt price, which it almost did here as I was over on NVIDIA. Remember I was saying like it tries to break the halt price down, makes a bottom in front of 950, you take it back up. Like that's a trade that at least you can be in 80s with your stop would end up being at like 58. That's 25 cents worth of risk. Which the only way, the other way you're playing something like this with 25 cents worth of risk is to trade it down here where you can get the consolidation long. Then you can be long at like 850 or 860 off of one of these lower highs. Like that's a reasonable trade, you know? So that's, I prefer the consolidation, but I wasn't looking at it until the halt price. All I did is go over what I saw on the halt reopen idea there. So Mara, we'll slap our first L on it, shorted the first available pop that we got, which was into 1575. It just broke out that consolidation, so I'm going to jump out of that one. Maybe wait patiently for something else to set up. Ivana Woody said DJT is remarkably strong. Yeah, but it wasn't strong enough to get to 21. 21 was where I was aiming on DJT. Got to 1960. It is up 11%. It's holding close to VWAP. I don't remember if we had a reason for why this was up today. I'm going to make the assumption that no. Outside of the rally the rally over the weekend, and Elon jumping around. So if that was if there's nothing else, I think you just play it by, hey, the big level's up at $21. You catch something early like a DJT while it's squeezing, great. But on the way back in, like I couldn't think of any reason to be looking anywhere but deep into the 17 and a third on the way back. It ends up holding $18. That's not really any kind of a level that I would have been interested in. And I would argue, outside of the initial parabolic move, it's been in a pretty clean decline at this moment. So yeah, it's up 11%. I think that's a little bit deceiving because all you had is a lot of strength for the first hour of the day. And since then, it's been very steadily selling off on DJ. Managed to bounce off 18 into 19, but it's right back at 18 even. Let's go to Adara. I believe we got a sector watch.
This is a very red sector board. What we're going to be doing today is taking a look for the last time at some outsized movers in the S&P 500. I like to have a theme for this when I can, and today's theme is going to be names that are reacting to the hurricane situation we have going on in the south. First off, we have DUK. This is Duke Energy. This whole utility sector sharply to the downside, but Duke Energy particularly weak here. Their Florida segment apparently preparing for over 1 million power outages, mobilizing roughly 10,000 resources. So DUK continuing to trade lower. Also lower is Disney, DIS, having a bit of an impact here. We know they have their Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and we do have Florida residents currently facing evacuation orders due to Hurricane Milton being categorized as hurricane or in Category 5. So Hurricane Milton Category 5 on watch here for DIS. Of course, they were also recently hit here in Florida and in the south from Hurricane Helene. And last but not least, actually a name pushing into new high of days as we speak on a hurricane-related catalyst is Generac Holdings, GNRC. This company trading higher initially after the Hurricane Helene. They are a manufacturer of these power equipment generators. And it's also worth noting, despite a catalyst that they apparently have sold out of generators in response to these recovery efforts, still pushing even higher. So GNRC absolutely on watch now, up more than 9% as Power Hour pushes to the close, guys.
Oh man, Neil, I don't even know what to do anymore. I mean, I know what to do. It's called trading, but I mean, there's the TQQs. There's another 30 handles. We just put it on. We just talked about what we were trying to do. I don't see. I was going to ask you what happened to the Nvidia because Micron went down, but there we go right now.
50 cents ago.
Okay, nice trade. There goes, look at the TQQs right here, man. It is a smooth one, smooth operator right now on the futures as it just makes that move down. We are out now of 70% of this. And all we're doing is just topping it out. We're just topping these plays out here. And we took another one. We talked about where our stop was. So again, this was 15 cents worth of a stop to now be in the money 30. So far, so good here on those trades. But again, you know, it has to be fitting your risk profile. And the futures don't fit everybody's, but for me, I like it. And we'll just continue to sit here and see if we can put some more damage on the board now. And it looks like the TQs, hopefully we can get a move down. We don't want to be long anything. We had that long in Micron. That came in and out right there. Again, we took a nice bid and then it broke higher. We got something out at 30s off of a 15 bid, but there it goes right there, breaking 102 flat, which turns out to be a mistake because as you can see where it's going now, a downside for this name. So yeah, not great here as we go, but Micron, we got stopped out there. That sucked, taking that 20-cent hit, but the futures is a good one. We just battled Micron. We said we didn't want to go long. And so far, the only thing that's been wrong have been the longs. So we missed that on Micron, but we made some money back, but then gave it back again. We'll just stick with the futures right now, 30 cents in the money and about 30 handles. So far, so good here. Adam, you're welcome, man. And I know because you are here, you know what real looks like. And there it is right now. Thank you so much. Real sees real. Congratulations to you, Adam. I hope you had that short as well. So I'm glad you made it back. And thank you for visiting us here in our offices. It's another gorgeous day in lovely Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Exactly. And it is a gorgeous day. But this is why we got out. You asked about NVIDIA. Break even. So we wanted to take it on strength and higher lows. So we got the higher low breakout, went into resistance, it did not hold on, we jumped out at break even. It's that simple. I like NVIDIA, it's relatively strong. I could be just, let's get more. But no, it's now losing the bid in here, so there's no reason to fight it. At the end of the day, like you got to be able to preserve profit as much as you want to make it. So It was making higher lows. The second that trend broke, we jump out of that one, and we do not want to fight the stock. I want to go Tesla. Tesla's right back at that 241. It might not hold on to the 241 level. We are past 330. I did promise I would look at the individual early look names. Oxy stands out a bit at 1.8 million to the sell side. NU seems like, I feel like New Bank's there every day now, and it just doesn't really matter. I think Oxy at 1.8 million to the sell side, about the only thing that's significant. TRP, don't really care. YMM, again, like the cheaper names, it doesn't really matter as much. Occidental, like everything in the oil or the energy space, I should say, has been on a bit of a tear. But this is what just happened at about 330. I don't know if that's the moment that 1.8 million to sell hit the early wire, but the hefty volume spike there. Of course, oil futures are moving around a bit as well. So going to be watching this at VWAP. If I see it pop into VWAP and it's a bigger sell or a sell as expected, Occidental is going to be on the radar. 1.8 million to the sell side when it's done 9 million shares in the day. So about 20% of the day's volume is the current imbalance sell side on Oxy. Generally speaking, energy's been pretty solid. Given a little bit back today. X1 made another fresh high. Did it hold? Now, X1 was underneath VWAP, but it made another all-time high today for XOM.
Randy, love it.
Consolidation day for XOM is double-checking. It's way above that 120.75. It's been such a gold long in energy recently. But sideways day, consolidation days are good, the way I see it. When you're trending up, consolidation days make the next step sometimes even better.
All right. Yeah, look, I mean, you guys know we love some energy around here. You know what else we love? Money. I'm not going to hide it either. I mean, this is why we're trading. We talk about that all the time. And there's a nice move down again for the TQQQs. So this is another 50 handles. So we had a huge move earlier on this name, and then there it goes right back in. And again, and I think this is what Adam was meaning. Like, I'm just really proud to have talked about this trade. And it's where we liked it, where our stop was, and then to be able to hold it back down to the downside and be able to take that profit where the profit was lying. And it was lying right there, and we took it. So, I mean, that's the trade that I'm going to be looking for over and over and over again. We are now out, unfortunately, of 80% of this trade, looking to get a little bit lower now on the TQs. So we take that bid there. I'm going to put a bid now at this low. We've bounced off of there before, 69.15. Let's see if we can get something down there. Hopefully we do, but it's a good short, man. We're short at 64s. This was about... We talked about what our risk was, 81s breaking. That's where my stop is. I think it's maybe 82. So it's about 20 cents to give us at the lows 60. So 3 to 1 or so at the very bottom. But I don't count trades like that. But if you guys are, that's good. I have no idea where they're going. I just kind of scalp it out as we continue to go to the downside, and then try to hold for that big move, right? Because I'll make more on this last 10% when we take 150 handles than obviously getting out of 30% of it right here, or like 20 handles. So the math is simple. You just got to do it and get it all figured out to see what works best for you. GameStop, sure, we can have a quick look at GameStop right now, just because someone in the chat there asking me, we're not doing anything. It's 337 right now. There goes GameStop. Yeah, nice move. So 2080 right there. Nice bottom, nice move up, trying to take out VWAP. But we talked about this. A lot of these names starting to go back up now to the upside. Like Apple, again, retraces back down. Maybe some of these bottoms are in right now. We don't have very many earnings reporting this week, but the banks come Friday. So that's where it all goes. I'm just hearing right now that FXI, and I forgot to sell Alibaba during lunchtime. Hello. Maybe we'll get a better opportunity now, because look what FXI is doing right now at the high of the day. Shout out to Fabian. I know that he was on this one. And again, this is what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people that will come on and they'll be like, I like this stock, but we don't know if they're actually in it or not. You know, and that's part of the problem with this business. And I think that's why, again, appreciate you, Adam, and all the traders out there as well that talk about, like, you're actually putting on the trade. You know, it's one thing to come on and say this chart is looking like a great long, and then this is where I'd get in, this is where I get out. But you don't actually know if these guys are in it or not, which is why it's really important to note that we have the ticks on our chart, where we're in, where we're out, and you can ask us at any time if we're up or down on a name, and we'll gladly tell you. But obviously, that's something that's important to us. And I just wanted to say FXI, for those, I did not get out of Alibaba, but wow, what a move up here I think it's overextended, but isn't the Chinese government, they're supposed to be coming out and having some sort of a talk about all of this?
My concern is that holiday's over tomorrow, I think.
Well, either way, it's up 4%. I mean, I think it's time to sell it. I'll probably sell Alibaba after hours.
I just feel like, you know what, sorry, I forget what the holiday is.
I might just sell
in China, but I think it's tomorrow they open back up, whether or not it's the day after the 8th or it's the actual 8th itself. But yeah, that's my concern, is that you do the rally to the upside on all stimulus talk, and then during this holiday, it's just bleed, you know, gap this, gap that. A lot of the names trade ADR. Some of them trade in Hong Kong. Some of them trade here, the ADRs. But I do figure there's going to be a bit of a reversion on those. I just want to quickly, because it was a good question about like Mara, like why did I like the short? I'm just going to show you what was in my head there, because sometimes I'll say this is the level I'm getting in at, and you'll see the entry in the trade, but I might forget to, like I didn't mention the trend line, and that's my bad. Like, yes, I was shorting here to there, right? So there's your short, there's your exit point. It broke out that, I stopped out there. But there's also the day-long trend line. You can connect all the dots. There's the trend line. When it broke out above it, it was kind of like confluence is a word, right? So there's a reason it's a previous low, so I like the short. It's trending to the downside, but my out was the other side of the trend line. Now, I'm not reversing because it's so late in the day. Oftentimes, this will be a reason why I would want to go in the other direction, break out into a long trade for a VWAP retracement. In this case, it would be a VWAP bounce. And we did this on SMCI is the same thing. Like, I feel like these were really bad trades. You know, well, it's only really bad, like not because I held it against me. Like, I had tight stops on both of them, but it's bad because it didn't fit my entry criteria. Whereas this one did. It broke a steep trend line there, and we shorted that. It couldn't really break through to give you VWAP. And then here's another reversion trade there on SMCI. So there's your higher lows. Did the reversion. This one shorted, added to it, looked really good. It bounced very hard off $47, so I just got the heck out of Dodge when it bounced off 47. So it's just a mean reversion style trade. I think you can play the trend in either way. As I draw that trend line, you could have just been, I mean, heck, you could have been long off of this trend once it established itself. You could have bought that dip in there. You could have tried to buy that dip. It just happened to work for the short. It could have continued higher and gone to 50 bucks for all I know. So I find when something's gone parabolic or has trended for a long time, I like those reversion style trades, but you got to be particular about your entry. When I take that one, getting the breakdown, and then I just give it to that prior high wick, so suddenly I have a defined amount of risk in a stock which is just going up, 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 up. You don't want to be making up levels to try to get out. You'd rather just get out of Dodge when your trade strategy tells you to. So only 8 minutes to go till the imbalances come out here. Havana Woody, oh, you're saying your comments on DJT about the strength is on the rest of the week, not necessarily before the close of today. Okay. Yeah, I don't necessarily, oops, I'm on SMCI still. I meant to go to no, I don't necessarily disagree that DJT has been on a nice little upward trend recently. Today I didn't really see much, but yeah, if you're talking about on the higher time frame, I mean, 15-minute looks gorgeous.
All right. Just do it again. There it is. So, so far so good here. I mean, there's another, again, this is now 50 handles. So we'll take another bid right here at the low of the day. Wow. It's just like, these are the markets, man. These are the markets. These are the markets that you want to trade. Very, very trendy, very, very simple. Pops getting faded over and over and over again. Monster trade on Apple there today, taking out all of the profit on that name as that just came all the way. Like, we have the short, we have the high of the day and the low. Like, this is what I'm talking about with markets. Sometimes you'll just get sideways action, right? Those are fun markets to trade too, but these are even better because you're getting these huge moves. I mean, even just on the futures, we talked about this again, like there's the move right into the close, right? Play the 50 period. Look at the 50 period right here. You know, so this has been a good trade there. We'll just continue to do that, and hopefully you guys are able to take advantage with us. And if not, I mean, find your own kind of style and find your own kind of stocks. There's lots to trade out there. Oil, we talked about that a little bit today as that's moving around in only a couple minutes right now into the close. We can look at Tesla again. Some people talking, I see on the chat there a little bit about Rivian. We can look at that. Rivian's probably not about to pop, trust me. 241. So I already talked about where I like Tesla, 238. right there coming in. We'll check that out tomorrow. We'll probably be on, no doubt. We'll be on the sticky note. I mean, again, we've always put on here major cap tech names, right? I mean, and right now it's what's happening and they're hot. So we're going to have to keep on looking over there and seeing if there's anything going on. All right, TQs. So we got out. So that's a good fill. Now we only have 20% left. Or I'm not actually sure how many shares we have. Let's just say 10% about left. We don't have that much. We were really happy to get that low of the day, which is why we hit that bang button. We talked about where we were sitting. Now, if it can collapses in, great. But I'm not putting on any more positions. I actually just double checking, make sure all the scripts are canceled, which they are. We only have one left. And this script left right now was to get out here at 80s. So we could just keep that on, man. That's a 15-cent hit. Now 3-1 in the money for this trade. So we like the trade. We like the stock. It's the futures. It's the TQs. We'll just keep on it until the close. And I don't think we'll be in anything else. Right now, TRP, of course, that's TransCanada, isn't it? We'll see about that one. TC Energy, right? Changed its name. TC Energy now, not TransCanada. So that's TRP. Used to be the old name. And then Oxy downside right there. That's oil, so that's strange. I mean, I thought Oxy was left for dead down there at 50. Goodbye if you're able to do that, of course, on the recent strength of oil. And then there's Palantir with a sell as well, so feeling some pressures into the close. But yeah, I'm going to get rid of broker, and then at 350, we will see the updates right now coming in, and then we can trade those accordingly. But yeah, everything all good, man. SMCI, we were back in and out of that name here. Shorts and longs at the top. The good thing about SMCI is we didn't actually trade that until there was a defined top, and we actually should have shorted that 48.40 again. Not going to do it now, but we'll wait out for SMCI tomorrow. I just messaged Danielle Shea with a little wink emoji there because we did talk about going long on this name at $40 just 2 days ago. So congratulations to anybody that followed that. Who has a question? You do, Fabian?
I do have a question.
Can everyone hear it?
Yep.
All right, let's go.
Did you like and subscribe?
I
don't miss a single notification.
Yeah, I mean, so there you go, man.
Guys.
You heard it from the man himself.
I'm waiting,
there.
especially
Did
you,
like and
John.
Subscribe.
I pity the fool
yeah,
that
that's
doesn't
right,
hit the
John.
like and subscribe button.
You know what? Last time we did this, we
Clubber
were,
Lang, baby.
we were at 185 last time. And now we're at 878, this time with over 4,000 watching. Last time we had 39. We went from 185 to 700 last time. Let's get this one over 1,000 likes. Thank you so much, Fabian, for that. And I'm sure we'll get there in just a matter of seconds. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much, beautiful gate right there. Great trading. I do appreciate that, beautiful gate. I'm sure your gate is very beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for that kind talk. It does mean a lot to do that, because I could sit here and put the trades on, but it means a lot that other traders are acknowledging this because it's not an easy job. And we'll sit here and put these on for you and try to do our best to explain them. So it means a lot that some of you are taking them and recognizing that. So again, we see you out there as well. Thank you so much for the liking and the subscribing and for all of that. We're now over 1,000. So thank you so much to everybody for that.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone in there. There was a lot of great comments in the chat, so I just want to reiterate that as well. We appreciate you all. There was several times today I was asked about Generac, and we're trading, we're talking to you guys. We get a lot of questions, and I feel like I know I missed this one in the middle of the day, or late in the morning, and certainly missed it this afternoon. So apologies there. We do not ever intend to miss your questions. I know we always do the super chats because it's easy and we see them up there. But just to address Generac, I don't know what else to say other than when you're up 9%, that's already good. But on the weekly chart, and again, like, this is not a stock that necessarily I'm in, but the things I look for when you talk about rounding out a bottom and breaking, in the weekly, this is the 200 period that you're now opening up above and breaking out on the weekly chart. If it holds on to like a 169, 170 this week, then I think it's like a new upward channel for Generac. 9% today, obviously a day trade. There isn't one. Why is this on Rivian? Okay, it doesn't matter. I was going to go to Rivian next, but switch to Generac. This should still be on Generac.
Oh, someone asked about Rivian. Maybe.
No, I know. I was gonna talk about Rivian next, but yeah, Generac. There's not much to talk about in the afternoon, but that weekly chart looks gorgeous. A close above that 170 on the weekly, I think, is incredibly bullish. Rivian. You want good news on Rivian? It's up 1% with the market down 1% today. It broke $10 on Friday and then held. No, that one's on Generac. And then held $10 in a higher low here today. So That's the good news on Rivian. It's a liquidity grab underneath 10 bucks. It held the line. With Tesla dying like a quail all day long, Rivian held the same low as the afternoon support. I think Rivian might be a very cheeky long trade if you can break out 1085 tomorrow. That's what I knew I was forgetting something, but that's a setup for tomorrow. I'll probably just jot down 1085 on my iPad, and if we break it tomorrow, then I should be long on Rivian. Relative strength. I mean, it's bleeding. The market's bleeding. Tesla's bleeding. Rivian, bull flag. If you look at the last couple of days, holding out the high. It's at the high of the day right now. I don't know if there's going to be a trade. I mean, you wouldn't touch this at the high of the day, but yeah, it's at 1080 looks pretty good for an opportunity tomorrow. We have less than 20 seconds till the imbalances come in. I'm just going to have Oxy up. It's still 1.8 million, the early look to the sell side. If it comes out any kind of size, it might be worth it. Nothing else really stands out here. You might get like an NVIDIA or something. That's the usual suspects, I should say. So that's what I'll be watching out for here. It'd be either NVIDIA or maybe Oxy in a couple of seconds. So imbalances come in. Oxy is pretty much as expected, slightly smaller. That's not going to get, that's not juicy. Apple and NVIDIA are both buys of 1 million. However, 1 million shares on NVIDIA is nothing. It already just paired a little bit down to 900,000. Apple 1 million, Intel 1 million. That's pretty meaningless. It always pairs off. So NVIDIA and Apple 1 million, but those are not gigantic imbalances, unfortunately.
Yeah, the imbalances are now out. New sponsor here for the show. Make sure you guys grab it right now. It's the charting software that I use for the last 20-something years. It's eSignal. So make sure that you grab that. Trade smarter, not harder. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here every single day. I don't know if it's loaded up. There it is right there, eSignal. Make sure you scan that QR code right there. Analyze, strategize, capitalize, foresee profitable opportunities with this platform. Look, man, the reason why I like it, I mean, we'll run through this commercial, but I can show you after that. It's great backtesting, great scanners, reliable, real-time data. That's the one thing that I really like about it. Its fact is that it's real-time, and we can scan many, many different. Here's a 20-minute chart. Oh, it's on right now. That's okay. We'll get that going. But thank you so much to eSignal. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm using, right? Easy to see, easy flowing through, high, low. You could put markers. It actually has the marker on the background that a lot of you guys like, the watermark. So it's eSignal. Make sure you scan that QR code below. I don't know if there's any discount. What is the discount on it? We'll figure it out. Right. Just grab it is the whole thing right now as they continue to sponsor. Sign up. Let us know how you like it. We can share some layouts with us as well. That is eSignal. And you saw Mark here the other day brought us all those donuts from ICE. So I like eSignal. Very, very reliable. We get out of our last trade there. I do not wait for 80s. We get out at 60s. Donuts. End that trade right there on the Qs. So again, as those imbalances come out, I was reading that and didn't get a chance to look. Was there anything exciting?
No, there were two buy imbalances on Apple and NVIDIA, but there were only 1 million shares. So the market did bounce on that. NVIDIA does make a bit of a jaunt to the upside through VWAP, but I'm not going to take a trade off of a 1 million imbalance on NVIDIA nor 1 million on Apple. Apple bounced off that, 222. So it did get there. It got right to 222. You're getting a little bit of a bounce going into the end of the day on AAPL. I like the fact that it held that, but unfortunately, barring another press, this might be a close underneath the 50 period on Apple, although it's right there. It's not terribly bad, only 2% to the downside, but you lost support. You might close underneath that 50 period on the daily, unfortunately. I got to remember, we're going to have Michael Noss on in the aftermarket show. And we were discussing SMCI. It wasn't a swing idea. I think it was along the lines of, we were talking about the whole, well, if you buy strong stocks, is there going consolidating underneath highs? And the same premise, you short stocks when they're off of those lows. I think that technically it sounds the same, but they're not the same in practice. Because the market goes up in the general sense in the long term. I think that's what gives it that juice that you're buying things right off the highs. I actually think shorting right at something's low can be a dangerous way to go. You usually want to get some kind of a pop. SMCI gave you a pop, that's for sure today. I'm going to double check to see where it is. I don't think there was nothing on the imbalances worthy of a trade, so there won't be anything new. Wow, SMCI just got to the high of the day again.
Yeah, man.
Triple top 48.5, 17% to the upside. I think this is what happens when you have, I mean, you had the short seller report. You obviously had some shorts that were leaning on the stock. This is not split adjusted. So when I say that 48.5, we're just talking about this resistance here. Like $4,800 or $485 right there. It was support to resistance. So it shouldn't be that much of a surprise that this is where we're tapping today. Like I said, the only mistake I made on this was taking trades that were not optimal setups. But when it gave you the trade off to 48.5, that's the one. If this breaks it out, I'm kind of hoping we don't break this level today, because breaking it tomorrow could be very juicy, or at least getting the trade off of it tomorrow. Ideally, we can set up and be right back here at 8:30. My guess is SMCI is going to be either like $1.50 beneath or $1 above. You're not usually lucky enough to trade at the exact same level, which showed you its significance the entire day of the day before. Market's not that kind, I don't think.
Remember the MU long that we liked at 102? Wow, that was a couple minutes ago, and now it's at 103. There goes Micron. Again, we tried to buy this name. I feel like we were pretty good with where we were in on it, but obviously, you know, losing on the stock means you're not that good at it. But there it goes, 101.97. Next time we got to give it just 10 cents more. And we have this play, but we'll end the day on a high note anyways, 355 right now. NASDAQ still down that 1%, so it's not a great day for the NASDAQ, but it's not horrible. We'll wait to see what winds up happening with Tesla tomorrow as we get closer and closer to Thursday evening's event. Remember, Thursday evening, we will not be able to trade this live on the show. We kind of went over that already. So Tesla will be coming out there later on. We can have just a quick look here. Disney as we go into the close. Yeah, that's why I want to look at it. It was a bad stock today, Disney, but a nice little move back upside. I was really surprised when we looked at this last week that we had gotten this high on Disney, almost approaching $100 again. So I thought that that was really unique. And I was like, for what reason? But today, obviously, and we say, you know, not really best of luck, because I don't think luck has, well, I guess luck has a lot to do with it when you're dealing with the weather. We hope that the tornadoes and hurricanes and all that that are going through Florida
can't control it
right now, and North Carolina and all that, basically the East Coast there, can come up with, you know, luck, I guess.
Everyone be safe.
And
that's all.
avoid it. I mean, no matter how much you prepare for it, you get nailed, you get nailed. So we'll hope that for speedy recovery for those of you that have, and best of luck for those of you that are trying to avoid it right now.
I'll tell you this much. Before I head to the desk for the aftermarket show, we get emails. We go to spring training in Clearwater, Florida. Well, it's Tampa Bay area, Clearwater, and we're always there every single year. Like, there's a 100% chance we're going there and we're going to spend, man. Because I saw some of the pictures of the damage, and when you see such a beautiful place like that, people's livelihoods. I remember we were down after Katrina.
Yeah.
For a friend's bachelor party, and it just look, man, you're gonna go anyways because it was New Orleans. But you feel so much better knowing that you can at least contribute back. So find a good charity. Make sure you help people out. If you're down there, be safe. I'm going to mosey on up to the desk. Great trading day today.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know if you have good luck in your fantasy matchup.
Nah, I'm 1-1 already. Nothing I can do.
I basically just need like minimal points from Worthy, Mahomes, and Kamara to go 2-0.
That's good. Minimal.
But like one injury, and you know what happens. Like as long as those three don't get hurt, I should be good to go. But that's fantasy 4. I don't want to talk about the Bills, so we're not going to. I'll see you guys at the desk.
Yeah, I don't blame you. 3-2 now off a 3-0 start. Still can't win that big game, but I'm hoping they do, because I want the Bills Nation to start ripping it up, man. I mean, you know, there's no better than going to a Bills game. So hopefully they're going to make the playoffs. That AFC East is turning out to be the worst division in football right now. It's always nice to play in that. Well, I think we might be in one of the toughest here with Detroit and Minnesota and the Packers. All of those teams, I think Detroit's, did they lose yet? Detroit did. Minnesota, I don't think did. And of course, Green Bay 3-2. All right, only 2 minutes left. Again, thank you so much for watching us. There's Disney. I don't know what else you guys want to look at. Palantir, man, well traded. One trade there today. Apple was the apple of this guy's eye today. That is for sure. Because look what Apple wound up doing for us. Just a $3 at the end of the day on that last 10% for that nice little win there for a minute and a half before close. But look what happened to Apple. Whoops, all the way down there into the downside and just keeps on trucking lower and lower and lower. Yeah, we did it, man. We did the futures today. Though these were some great trades. The purples are shorts, so we definitely ran that short into the close. Pfizer, what a great open it was for PFE, as that name just kept on going higher and higher as well into the close, or off the open, now into the close lower. We'll wait to see that one. Palantir, that SMCI, wow. I said that we'd be trading this name a little bit more now that it's $40. I think we got to stick with that and get back into SMCI. First couple trades here off of 48 didn't really work. We will be red on SMCI today, but all right, I got to get ready to go. The countdown's almost on with only 40 seconds left. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely means a lot to us. Thank you for hitting the like button. The current like count we have is over 1,000. So I want to say thank you to everybody for that one right now. Now I don't see where it is, but it's on here. Believe me, that's the chat. I want to thank everybody for becoming a part of our chat. You can do that by hitting the like and the subscribe. Look, I'm here tomorrow. So is Neil, so is Brendan, so is Adara. We're all getting ready to rock and roll. Make sure you join us tomorrow. But for right now, there's only 10 seconds left, so we will hit the countdown. The countdown brought to you by Worksport. Go check those guys out. WKSP. Right now, 3, 2, 1. All right, we are now donezos for the day. Thank you for Adara. Thank you to Adara for ringing that bell. As you can see, NASDAQ finishes the day down that 1.1%. It's Bitcoin finishing the day at 63.4. It had its dance at 64,000. I think Bitcoin goes a lot higher from here. I like BTC. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. It's 4 o'clock. We don't have a huge rush to get over there. Of course, there are no earnings tonight, but we start off tomorrow with Pepsi. Then we come through later on this week with bank earnings, JP Morgan, BlackRock, and Wells Fargo firing those cannons off Friday morning. So, hey, it's been a good one. You had Michael Nosh this morning. I can't even remember what names he was talking about. That's how long ago it was. But we made a lot of trades today. We had some good ones. We had some bad ones. But at the end of the day, hey, it's day trading. Lick your wounds if you have them. Celebrate victories if you have them. But definitely come back tomorrow. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'm always just waiting to be told to throw it. So you let me know when we are good to go on that one. All right. So, all right. Then we're good. Thank you, everybody today. Thanks on the board, Ramin, Fabian, Andre, and all the work that everyone's done. Thanks, Randy. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls. Let's go over to Neil. Ciao, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much there, Sean. It's the market recap tonight. We're going to have Michael Noss come through for some trader talk as well, but I feel as if it's a weird one today because how often does China go up? Just China go 4%. Depending on, it just really depends on which one of the ETFs you're talking about, whether it's 4% or 4.5% or 3.5%. Doesn't matter. Yet you didn't need to trade them. I don't know what else to tell you. The chips were on an absolute tear this morning. Everything in Mag 7 land basically trended to the downside. You had all of the crypto names trending to the upside with the exception of Mars. So there was so much to work with that you didn't even need to jump back into the party in FXI. Now, I only have FXI up here because it's leading my ETF watch, as you can tell here. It was a weird day. You know, the market ends up to the downside, but really kind of an inside day. 1% down. You're consolidating off highs on the NASDAQ. Like, I want to call it like a ho-hum inside kind of day there. That was a weekly chart. I wanted to put it to a daily chart so you guys can see it. Just get it right back to normal where I'm looking at a daily. So you're consolidating off of the highs at previous support on the NASDAQ in here. Overall, the market on the 3 with a late day breakdown. For the whole day, you were talking essentially inside day, and then we broke it down. Why? Pretty simple. Apple, trend down 2%. Meta, which has been making every other day, or at least a couple of days in a row, actually last week, it was just fresh all-time highs in Meta. Meta trapped people above 60. Meta down 1.9%, which doesn't even tell the story because it made that $10 rally right off the open. This is actually more of a sell-off than it looks like there. Down at 585, that was down. Microsoft was down as well. Amazon was down as well. It was Alphabet. I feel that a lot of people are like, hey, why is Alphabet so weak? I don't necessarily know what was particularly going on with Alphabet. However, what I do like about this move is I think it's giving us an opportunity, and just going to talk about Google in particular. I mean, Mag 7 dragging us down when the chips went up, and we're going to get into the chips, no questions asked. But if you look specifically at Alphabet on this dip, you got the 50 period and the 200 period converging. I love that for a possible jump off spot. If you got a stock or a company that you like, that you think is going to win, that you think is good, then hey, 2 moving averages are better than 1 the last I checked. So if you get some kind of a convergence in here off the 160 level, set up like a higher low to trend off of it, I think that'll be absolutely delicious because Google, I think, is going to be fine. And ultimately, when we say buy and hold like good companies, why do we like the 200 period moving average? Look at the 200 period on Alphabet. It got underneath and it was an all-the-world buy at 150. It bounces off of it this time here back in, that's March, and that was the run back into the highs. So one of the few names that's underneath that August panic day bottom for a little bit. I think it's got that for a little bit of support, but obviously not looking too good. I see Robin Sandu thoughts on Apple. I'm going to get to the chips in a second here. But thoughts on Apple, give it a beat. I understand it broke the 50 period moving average on the daily chart today. So the first thing I'm going to do after this breakdown is not overreact to it. The second thing I'm going to do is stink bid the 200 period moving average. I don't know, because anytime one of the good names loses the 50 period, I kind of think that's usually like the day or two after. I like to stink bid the 200 period in case it trends down into it. I know I already have a bid there. No, but all you've done is close pretty much at a support, barely underneath that 50 period. Let's see how it reacts tomorrow. If we consolidate under and break 220, then maybe you're trending back into the 215 level, which was previous support. You know, it was trend down today, but what happens if we gap right back above that 222 or even the 23, regain the 50 period and just have like a slightly update tomorrow? Then all of a sudden this was for naught and it's a bounce off the 50 period moving average. Take it day by day. I don't think it's a clear trend in either direction off of this level yet. It's a clear trend to the upside in the long term, but I don't think we have a clear short-term trend, or new trend, I should say, because it already trended back into the 50 period. Now it's broken it. It can set up a new one and we can go short for a couple of days, but it has to be underneath that 222. Just because it closed 20 cents under that price doesn't mean that it's going to be there tomorrow morning. I think we all know this. It happens all the time. What was strong today? What was strong today? Now, SMH, you can barely even see in here, only up 0.2%. We already talked about FXI and all of the Chinese names that were super strong. So, where is it? No, I want SMH, not XMH. You can barely see it. 0.1% to the upside. It was a very strange day for the chips. And I say very strange in that NVIDIA did pretty much in the morning what you would have wanted on a breakout trade, which was go past, we go into prior highs, and I guess I need a 15-minute to show you guys this. Go into the 15, we go right into some prior highs and break them out. It was a pretty clean move through 120, there it is, 125 and a quarter. That was Friday's high. And then we go right into 130. Okay, well, that makes sense. It doesn't hold on to the bid. AMD looked pretty strong as well early on, although granted with AMD, it kind of gave up the bid, barcoded in the afternoon in a real sense, held back the 170 level, and ended up exactly flat. What was crazy about today in the chips was the squeeze that happened in SMCI. And I understand, okay, it's only a 2% short float. Those are estimates. Those are updated sometimes monthly. Maybe that's a different number. But the reason why I'm going to call it a squeeze, it's not just the fact that there was a short seller report. That's part of it. But when you have so much bad news piled onto one stock and being driven down, usually anybody that is short is like, okay, well, how much worse can it get when all the bad news is in? And when a day like this happens, they're running to the exits. And you can see it broke a big consolidation at the bottom, down here at about $43.50, and it went right to resistance on the daily. I can't say this enough. And I say this as a mea culpa. Like I had 5 shorts in SMCI. Before the last one of them was like kind of profitable, and even that one I ended up getting stopped out. So 4 of them ended up stopping out eventually for losses. One of them was a slight up trade because I had taken some profit out. The issue is we had mentioned 48.5. as the big level on the daily. When a stock is going parabolic, 10%, 12%, 15%, oftentimes, and it takes a lot of patience to do this, you just wait for it to go all the way. You want it to go all the way, you let it go all the way, and then you take your shot at it to the south side. So it came right to the level you wanted. I don't think I was patient enough with it. It wasn't DWAC level for myself where I was short like 23 times. It was this way back when DWAC did its first move. I had 23 shorts out of 27 trades, and then the last one got me green because I was red on it the entire time. This was a little bit better than that, but certainly there is a possible breakout happening on SMCI after this bottoming pattern. You got to watch out for these. You know, like it's been bleeding. This gave up the entire year's move, more or less. Entire year's move. It was a triple up to nothing to a potential break. Like this can go. Give it some credit. It doesn't need to be GameStop for it to break this sucker out. Trust me, it can certainly go, and I do like the look of it if it does make that break. I see Nick W in the chat asking about Datadog. I promise, I didn't get to that one today. One I do want to go over at some point. I do want to point this out, is while we're looking at some of the strength in some of these sectors, you had a nice up day in the solar names. So a couple of points to the upside. I bring this up because the bottoming pattern that's been happening here, you're rounding it out. It was another test of the 50 period. I'm not here to tell you that it was a successful test of the 50 period because you can see the wick right into the 50 period on the daily and then a pullback on 10. If you're trading these things as a day trader, this ETF, that high that you would have seen today corresponds with the 50 period on the daily. Like if you wait for it to go parabolic into it, let it pull back in, I think those are the spots that you look for those mean reversion type shorts. Now on the daily, what I'm looking for this, and I've mentioned Snowflake and things that are in a bottoming pattern, hey, close above the 50. Wouldn't that be nice? Close above the 50, set this up. If you take a long after it closes above the 50, somewhere in here, and you end up stopping out underneath, at least you knew you were joining a trend instead of trying to make a trend at the bottom. Because if you sit there and try to make a trend somewhere off any of these bounces or consolidation levels on the way down, you might get lucky every once in a while. Like you get lucky here, maybe you get lucky there before it breaks the trend line. But if you've been doing it the whole way, you took so many L's that it's completely irrelevant because the bounces haven't been big enough. Let things make a bit of a rounded bottom. Then you can jump in. So good update today. Do not love the fact that it rejected the 50, but plenty of time for it to close above. Want to shout out this. Berkshire was down 2 points today. I have not bought this stock in a hot minute. And by that, I mean when Sean and I had our own trading floor, I think I was in it for like a little bit and then got it. It was like after the pandemic. Not the pandemic. It was after the financial crisis. I remember buying some and then selling it. But it's bouncing off the 50-period moving average. And Sean mentioned he got into it. It's piquing my interest because we've been talking about buying things you like off the 50. And this is about to retest the 50 at 450. So the 50-period moving average, 450. Berkshire looks a little bit interesting as well there. I do believe, I know it's not 415 yet, but I do see him creeping over in the corner there, Mr. Nas. So how about it? I mean, it was an unbelievably wild day. What better day to have Michael Nas double barrel to get a little trader talk coming in? Oh, it didn't work. My vaunted trader talk button let me down. Where's the fail so I can, does this work? I'm not going to hit the fail there. Michael Nas, welcome to the Market Recap Show. Michael Nas from Trade Ideas. Wild day in the market today. Yet a little something for everybody. SMCI with a bit of a bottoming pattern squeeze. Didn't break out that level on the daily chart. Kind of got right into resistance. The chips were all incredibly strong and trending. You had China going again. You had crypto. You had Bitcoin and some crypto going to the upside. Obviously, there was a lot given back late at the end of the day. So there's a lot for a day trader. I don't think if you were a day trader, if you didn't have anything to trade today, then you should probably be A, watching the show more, and then B, examining what your strategy is. As a swing trader, however, what did today give you? Because I feel like there were a bunch of almost breakouts on the charts I'm looking at, but like they got there and didn't quite get there.
Well, you know, I was in the morning talking about XLE and more importantly CNQ, And I did buy some of that off the open. That had a great day. But if we take a look at my chart, this is just the market not doing anything. And to be blunt, for us swing traders, I've been kind of talking about this for a long time, and I'm still in the camp of the closer we get to this U.S. election, the more of this kind of chop back and forth we're going to see, because the less institutional involvement I think we're going to get. I think we're going to get more retail involvement. We're going to get more of this, which is great for day traders because retail involvement is generally more choppy. I mean, they'll buy into one stock in the morning and they'll be out of it in the afternoon and cause a lot of this back and forth action, whereas institutional involvement is a little bit more trending. And as long as we're seeing this in the overall market, you're right, there's not a whole lot for me to do. However, that CNQ was pretty nice, getting some of that off the open here, had a nice pop up, and on the new trade wave indicator that we have over at Trade Ideas, actually triggered a buy on the weekly chart for this first one. So that put a little bit more oomph in my trade and in my analysis to potentially take that trade going forward. But yeah, that's the only time I hit the button today personally.
I have to ask you this only because we're both Canadian. You're in Canada. In this particular case, I know we trade U.S. stocks, but you took the trade in? Did you take it in Canada? Did you take it off the TSX Open? Because when I look at the way that this ended up trading at 9:30, it basically broke out right away. And in Toronto specifically, and for anyone that hasn't traded the TSX or the Toronto Exchange, sometimes if you're taking an opening breakout trade and it's above your breakout price, your best entry might actually be that market on open order. I don't know that I'd ever do that in the New York for a swing trade or the NASDAQ, but I've seen it in Toronto where a lot of times that's a really good liquidity spot. But first answer that. But secondly, what are you doing with it? Because you got a good rally on it already today. So this is the open. I mean, there's pre-market action on it, but this is the open. And then you had a pretty clean rally, 36 into 37. The obvious, you've got resistance at 37.5. So I'm going to make a guess that some profit taken out in front of that level. And are you holding through? Where would the stop be? Is the stop as simple as the 50 or the 200 on the daily, which sits in here, 35.25? Can you walk us through your plan of action now that you're in?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, for my entry, I'm very much one that I want to systematize as much as I can. I've actually started a podcast all about systematic trading. I do systematic or algorithmic day trading and the swing trading I try to systematize as much as I can as well. So that means just sending out orders and letting them work pretty much off the bat. So Interactive Brokers has this cool feature where you can put out an order through Trade Ideas. You can just click on the chart and say, I want to buy it here. And if that gets triggered, I want to put my stop loss out here and then walk away. So that's what I did here with Trade Ideas. I basically just said, put in a buy limit above this prior high, this red candle's high right here, and then put my initial stop loss under that low. And that's it. That's all I need to do for the initial trade. And then as I come back to my desk at the end of the day, and I see a 3% move already, I did take about a third of it off the table just to lock some money away. Now I'm probably just going to leave the stop right under the kind of psychological number of 35. But the thing that really got me into this trade was this massive days to cover number of $35 or 35 days to cover. That's like a month and a half. It would take shorts to get out of the position based off current volumes if they had to. So now that I've paid myself a little bit on it, if I get stopped out, it will probably be a break even or really tiny loss. I really just want to let the trade play out. And a lot of what I'm doing with that is using the trade wave indicator that we have, which is just a couple moving averages kind of stacked on top of each other. So if in this case it'd be, I think the 12 period moving average, we get a close below it, then it's time to go. But I really want to give that the time and the energy to take that trade. Now, I took the US version simply because that's where my money is, right? So instead of having to convert the money back to Canadian dollars in order to take the trade on the Canadian exchange, I pretty much do everything on the US exchange. It's, I know we're Canadian here, but I know most of the audience is US, and they have access to without a doubt the best market in the world, right? I'm long China and I'm long some Canada now, and I'm able to do that all through the US with plenty of liquidity and not worrying about where, what's going to happen if something occurs, because I know it's a fair market and I know it's a super liquid market. So I just kind of do everything on the US markets right now.
Yeah, I was just being curious. I mean, I can tell you by default that I'm in CNQ with you, but that's because I've had that in my RRSP for quite some time, and it's on drip. So like that's one of those things that I don't actually buy the stock because it's just constantly the dividends going back into buying shares. Shout out to Steve Canyon in the chat, just gave a nice little nickname for you, Prognosticator. So he says, tell the
That's a good one.
prognosticator hello. So shout out to you, Steve Canyon. That's a really good one. I can't believe. See, when I hear nicknames like that, like, man, I wish I'm not smart enough to come up with them. I like to steal them from other people. But Fabian, it's 100% true. I like to take really cool sayings and nicknames from other people. I'll pawn them off as my own, and then we'll have a few laughs about it. But I'm always really honest about it. If I hear something really cool, I tell people I'm going to steal that because that's an awesome joke. That's an awesome gag. I love the prognosticator in there. Can I ask you about maybe a little bit about Bitcoin and MSTR, maybe in particular? Because look, MicroStrategy. You were just talking about float and days to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, obviously that days to cover is insane on CNQ. MSTR has a 15% short float. The days to cover is only a couple of days. It's 2 days to cover. However, it did just break out a resistance level today. You did just have a bounce, able to hold 60,000 over the weekend. We tried to hold 64 above. That didn't really happen on Bitcoin. But you are getting a bit of a break toward the high and the squeeze. And another thing that you've mentioned a lot about is buying stuff as they get or consolidate off of that high, because that's a good percentage place to buy it. So it fits a lot of the thesis. But that 2 days to cover, does that make it not a squeeze name for you, or is this something that's still on the radar?
I love this days to cover, and it's something that I've added more recently into my trading. That we've had this forever at Trade Ideas, like 20 years. We've had this indicator, and I'm just using it more because you're right. Even though it's a 15% short float, because MSTR, especially now post split, is very actively traded. 19.5 million shares today alone. It's only 2 days to cover now. So it means, again, for those who don't know, days to cover is just how many shares are borrowed out there divided by the average total volume. So if something had 1 million shares outstanding to be borrowed, but it did 1 million shares a day in action, that's not as big of a short squeeze potential as like what we mentioned on CNQ, where it has 35 days to cover. So it means that if every trade was a buy on CNQ, it'd take 35 days to get out of their position. However, when it comes to MicroStrategy, we know that with MicroStrategy, nobody cares about this company. I actually did I think a poll on my Twitter a while back. Nobody knows what these people do other than they hold a lot of Bitcoin. And I think that's the only thing. So when it comes to trading MicroStrategy, you're just trading Bitcoin. Now, full disclosure, I always say this, I do own some from a swing trading strategy and algorithm I have that bought it around 160 here. I sold out a big chunk of it this morning, but I still hold some. And I'm treating this just like Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, I have alerts out and orders out to say, get me in as we break new highs. I'm willing to take a shot there. I'm super worried because I know Bitcoin in particular has this tendency of just chopping around. We can go back to MicroStrategy. We can see long periods and periods of chop, right? We all remember Bitcoin when it breaks out doing these massive rallies that we all wish we were on. But the problem is if you're trying to trade it in these choppy reigns, you have a bad time. So for me, yes, I took some. I had a good little trade on it. I'm okay with trading around this core position of Bitcoin that I own. But for me to really get involved, I do want to see that all-time high breaks. I'm still in the camp that it's a matter of when, not if. I just don't want to take 5 tiny losses to finally take that one big win when I can just sit back and let alerts and let orders out in the market take care of that for me.
I'm with you on that. I'm not going to lie, that's exactly what they did with SMCI today, which was just take a bunch of hits and then make it back when the one works. I have 2 things to say about MSTR. The first is, how dare you mention the fact that you don't know what this company does? Michael, everybody knows that MicroStrategy Incorporated is an American company that provides business intelligence mobile software and cloud-based services. Funded in 1989 by Michael J. Saylor, yada, 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 and some guy can't read off of right now on Wikipedia. No, I had no idea either, but like, nobody does.
Come on,
no,
you guys
but
don't know that?
we talk about this. We talk about the 200-period moving average. I just want to point to, we can't look at this daily chart on MicroStrategy without noticing, and we've said this a lot, the 200 SMA on this has been a gold buy level. I think, when were we last underneath it for any period of time? This is January of 2023. If you go past that, there's like 3 days underneath it here, and then it's just buy. And when you get since the breakout, you've had 2 chances recently to buy off the 200-period moving average. So I think when you mention a chop fest in there, and the days to cover, you don't like buying off the highs. Well, if you're really patient, if something is a chop fest, then allow it to chop everybody out whenever they're trying to buy the highs and wait for those support levels. The fact that this, now don't get me wrong, I'm not buying MSTR. I hold Bitcoin in my personal, in my TFSA through some of the ETFs. I do not buy MicroStrategy, but the 200 period has been absolutely gold there. I did want to point that one out. I wanted to ask you a little bit about, only a couple of minutes to go in here, Michael, about energy in general, because XLE's been making a break. And then if there's anything else that you wanted to mention in particular, I know like this, for myself, XLE's broken the trend line. It's gotten to the next point of resistance. I feel like you've had to close above the 50 and the 200 for people that are into things like the Golden Cross. It's been breaking out. I know this is something that you were mentioning as well. What are your thoughts on energy? And then if there's anything else that we didn't get to that you wanted to tell us about?
Yeah, energy I think is going to be the key going forward for a lot of markets. I see a little buy ticket from the trade wave indicator just came in.
Yep.
And yeah, this was the chart I brought this morning, and it was basically this downtrend line break that was very interesting to me that it did last week, and it did last week on a higher volume. And this is what we want to see in a bull market. We want to see money trickle down from the winners, such as the tech stocks and the AI play and even Ozempic and all that, and go into other names. And energy is just kind of a good, safe name where you're not going to get insane swings. I know there's some geopolitical news, but even if you look at the weekly chart, you can barely see it. I like to trade energy very much technically because I find that and commodities actually work very well technically. So energy is one that's very, very interesting to me. Now, the XLE is kind of a catch-all when it comes to energy. So I think it would behoove you to kind of go under the hood and just look at the different names. And I think that's what I'll leave people with is like, look at uranium, right? Nice little breakout here. We were talking about the 200-day moving average, now trying to reclaim the 200-day moving average. I don't see anything in here yet. Again, full disclosure, I own some uranium from about 25. But take a look at that kind of nuclear name, and then also take a look at things like natural gas, right? I've been in natural gas for a long time. I actually got stopped out of my trade today. Take a look at some of these other names, solar, anything that you can think of energy related, and try to find and try to figure out where that money's flowing into. Right now, it's pretty obvious that it's oil, but if energy continues to move, it might not always be. You can get broader rotation, then you get rotation within sectors. So it's not rare or uncommon to see in the energy sector, natural gas to be really big one day, and then USO or oil to be big following days, and then maybe solar and all of these different names around this overall theme. So, keep your head on the swivel. Keep scanning all of these different names and try to figure out one that would make sense if energy is going to continue to move the way it is.
I'm with you there. And speaking about commodities moving technically, you literally just had that chart up of UNG where you see it break that bottom, tick the 200, that's a 200 SMA, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Right? Ticks it, pulls back in, it's above your line. So if you stop that, now you trailed out of that one, if I'm being correct. And I say this all the time. I know we say this all the time. Oh, I stopped out of this trade just because you had a stop order that triggers you out. But it's, to me, if you stopped out in profit, then it's a trail out. I'm being a little bit nitpicky there, but
okay.
So it went to your target price. Now, and I asked you this last time, and I know we're gonna get you out of here. It's almost 4:30, but bounce off that prior resistance, break back out the 200, is that a new trend for an entry on UNG?
Yes, I'm still watching it, just like you mentioned on my chart here. This was my entry was because of this kind of rounded bottom. You see the buy ticket that TradeWave put in here. I was expecting kind of a short squeeze, or, a bear trap, whatever you call it. Got a great trade out of it. I got out of a bunch as it got to that declining 200-day moving average, trailed out of the rest today as it gapped down and broke the TradeWave cloud. But yes, if we can dig in here around 1550 or so and put in a nice little base and then break that 200-day, that to me is a separate second trade where I'll get right back in and I'll put my stop below whatever the swing low ends up being. That would kind of, if we're looking into the future and what that may look like, that might end up being a little bit of a reverse head and shoulders here as well. So I like this. I think eventually if gas is going to continue to move higher, then UNG is going to be moved up. It's a heavily shorted instrument right now, so it might get some involvement with that as well. But yeah, that's a lot of what ifs. I'm watching it, but I need to see it base, then I need to see it break out, and then it goes from there. But I think it's worth planning that out and doing that for the viewers too, because it teaches you how far we think ahead and how many if-then scenarios are already planned out for a trade I just got trailed out of today, right? I might not take it for another month, but I'm already thinking about what the next trade would look like.
You said it right there, Michael, because if your trade or your trade plan or your trade setup or what you take isn't a series of if-then statements, then what is it? It's nothing. It's just a gamble. It has to be a bunch of things that need to, or maybe one or two things that have to line up. If this happens, I do that. And that way you're just taking the action and not trying to guess. And even when you do it in the moment, it still ends up being that, even if you can't articulate it. Sometimes you're going by, I see this in the tape. But that's just because you've done it for 15, 20 years. And it's and then after the fact, I can explain it to you, but it's in real time. This is what I saw in level 2, my entry here. This is where the buyer was, I stop out. So I love that. Good luck on the old Widowmaker if it does set up, because that's what natural gas gets called by most. Michael Noss, appreciate you. Can't wait to talk to you at the end of the week. You'll be back on Friday. Good luck with those swing trades. Great one on CNQ, and maybe we'll see if you get in some UNG.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Talk to you on Friday.
All right, take care. Michael Noss, our good friend as always. So right back in here. I know it's past 4:30, and we're going to get into, hey, look, we're not in any positions. Obviously, no, just joking. It'd be hilarious if you pop that up there. Is that usually at the bottom? I don't think it is. If you'd pop that up and I saw a position away from my desk, I'd be freaking out. But you know what time it is? It's roll call time. And before we get into roll call, I always thank the entire team and everybody and all that good stuff. But I want to point out, because I've seen Cash Money in the chat say several times in here, over and over, who is the Lorax? I answered the question in the chat. The Lorax is the one that speaks for the trees, everybody. And if you know Dr. Seuss and you grew up on Dr. Seuss like I did, then you should know that too. But if you don't, well, then they're great for kids. Dr. Seuss, I don't care what anybody says. I think, obviously, when things were written in the past, there's going to be questionable stuff out there, but the times are the times, and the stories are the stories, and they're absolutely wholesome for families. So I'm a big fan of them. My daughter has. We have all of them in our house. My daughter's read pretty much every single one of those. But shout out to the entire Trader TV live team, from Sean, from Brendan, to Adara, obviously to Sharif and Joseph doing a fantastic job. My main man over there on the ones and twos, and I'm pointing him out there. There's Fabian. I can't tell. I can't see if Andre is left for the day. I don't know if he's sitting over there. Shout out to him, and shout out to Ramin as well. Great job for everybody. But a big shout out and special thank you as always to Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the dang business. We'll give you my bang button. The bang's not working either. My stream deck's not working. I was gonna hit the button. There you go. Thank you very much there, Fabian. Wow, that light in that shot it's just a little bit intense for that shot. That's a little bit ridiculous. But let's get into some roll call, everybody. You know what up, so let's get the names in there. Other Zinc in the chat. Christopher Holcomb. I do like that. You got all the emojis. Just Brad V. We got Elon. Jump up, Elon. We got Royal Dixon, Andrew Chow, Cash Money again, John Van Sowers, BGZ. We got, as I said Zed. I'm Canadian. Is what it is. Monty G, Dollar Bill, y'all. TX, Jet Fan, JETS, Not Jets, not Jets, not Jets. Cash Money again. Raul Martinez, Derek Thompson, Nick Dubs, Volky. I promise you I will, Nick, ask me about Datadog. We'll get to it tomorrow. I promise. I feel like we missed that one. That's my bad. J Mott, we got NYSE Urbanista, Very So, Hey Davis, Michael Spandafora, G. Franco in the chat, Daryl Flinch in the chat, John Drawn, CompuCare team, Eli7721, Adrian, Jersey Sean, we got Mr. Katina, and we got Jersey Sean. What else do we need? Little Jersey Shore action. Maybe, Halloween costume ideas. I just got one. Pretty petty for your thoughts there. Bright Awakening, Starburst, Code, S Ready, Vince Chapter, Bob S., Gap Filler in the chat, Code, Ori, K-Fry. Thank you all so much. And I say it every single time I have the honor of being able to host the aftermarket show for your guys and for everybody and their pleasure. Is the best part about it, we just started the week. We got a lot to get to. We've got Robotaxi later in the week. We've got bank earnings at the end of the week. We've got SMCI day 2 after squeezing today. There's so much to look at, so much to have fun with. And the best part, we get to do it right again, 8:30 in the morning. Why? Because we are Trader TV Live. And we'll see you in the morning. That's what we do. Bye, everybody. That shot.